It's a gorgeous day for college football as we have a CAA battle. The Wildcats have won 13 in a row here at Villanova Stadium. North Carolina A&T, they've yet to win a conference game since joining the league 2 years ago. As we welcome you into the Villanova Sports Network. Hi everyone, Nick Montaigne, Steve Pannone, and Tessa Peloso. Steve, the Wildcats are winning with defense this year. It's a top 10 defense, normally very explosive on offense, but they're winning a lot of close games this year, aren't they?
Yeah, no doubt. The defense has carried this team all year long. The offense much younger. Defense very experienced. Wildcats hope to get that offense going today, especially the passing game.
The Aggies with just one win. They've lost 7 straight. They played a number of quarterbacks. They have lots of injuries. How do they hang with Villanova today?
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. As you see the standings here, Wildcats 4-1 want to stay in that league title chase. They'll need a win today, and North Carolina A&T looking for that first league win.
The Aggies coming off a loss last week at home to William and Mary as they were in the Big South for a couple of years. Their strength is their offensive line, and while maybe a little bit unsettled in some other spots, they have lots of injuries at their running back position. Their newest guy is Shamik Blizzard, and he had a career-high day in the loss to the Tribe.
Yeah, that's their chance today. They're going to have to be able to run the football. Villanova defends the run so well. It's going to be a challenge for the Aggies to do that, but their best chance today is kind of control the football, keep Villanova's offense off the field.
Shamik Blizzard had a career-high 132 yards in the loss last week. As today's players to watch, presented by Mainline Health. They've had to play 3 quarterbacks this season, Steve. The latest 2, Justin Fomby is in his 6th year, and Braxton Thomas is a rookie.
Yeah, so you got the kind of the tale of both ends here. 6-year veteran and Fomby, and then the Thomas is the true freshman coming out. You're going to see both of them today. Both big, strong guys that can run and pass, dual threat type players.
Fomby plays more from the pocket. Braxton Thomas is more of the option quarterback, as the Wildcats certainly have players on offense that can get it done. They came away with a win at Hampton last weekend.
Yeah, and it was the ground game that did it. There you see David Abbott getting one in the end zone there. And then a couple of big plays in the passing game. You see Lucas Kopecki with a big grab there. Then there was a play downfield. This is the one here to Jalen Sanchez. He got this one all the way down to 1 that led to the Brendan Bell touchdown and give the Wildcats a 20-7 lead. And they held on to win that one 20-14.
Jalen Sanchez had 103 yards receiving. The linebackers have arguably been Villanova's best players this week, so they gave Brendan Bell, the linebacker, a carry, and he scored his first career touchdown. But known for their defense. They're sending defensive backs to the NFL, typically, and Tyrell Mims is a terrific player.
Yeah, a little bit undersized out of the corner, but just a ton of fight in this young man. He's done a great job. You look at his numbers there. Also had a pick 6 get called back for a roughing the passer call against New Hampshire here 2 weeks ago, but got an interception last week against Hampton to give the Wildcats a short field on offense, showing off a little bit of his moves right there too.
You've danced just like him, right, partner? The Wildcats have won the turnover battle 6 times this year, as this is just the 2nd ever meeting between Villanova and North Carolina A&T. As we said, Villanova won last year, and we have a wonderful day here on the main line for college football fans finding their way here for the start of today's kickoff. Temperatures are in the high 50s. It's a bit breezy as the opening coin toss, Steve, just happened on Alumni Day.
Yeah, Wildcats won the toss and elected to defer, so they'll be on defense first, and A&T will bring their offense out. You mentioned Alumni Day, also beautiful day, and a lot of Villanova alums back on campus to kind of celebrate this year's team.
And Military Appreciation Weekend with Veterans Day approaching. Sun-splashed afternoon for this conference battle. The Wildcats are in 3rd place, as you saw in the standings. North Carolina A&T, several years ago, Steve, they had a lot of success in the MEAC, went 12-0 in 2017. Now a new coaching staff with Vince Brown in his 2nd year.
Yeah, it's a jump up in talent, in terms of going from the MEAC to the CAA, and they've had some growing pains, and they're trying to find their way out of that. And the way to do that is to continue to recruit quality football players, and looks like Vincent Brown has that. He's got some good young players. They're just inexperienced at this stage, and it's just going to take a little while for them to get themselves in the middle of the pack here in the CAA.
He got to take on his old team. He was formerly the defensive coordinator at William & Mary for the 4 previous seasons. That 2022 team was excellent, went to the NCAA quarters. Lots of youth for the Aggies. We'll see how healthy they are. They played a lot of young players last week. Ethan Getman, the transfer kicker, has been wonderful this year. As we're underway, Aaron Harris is a terrific kick returner, but he won't get a chance to take this one.
Yeah, Getman had a great week last week and did miss a field goal early in the game, but had 3 touchbacks on kickoffs, punted the ball for 45-yard average, and there another touchback. And this is one of the strengths of this A&T team is special teams in their return game. So a good job by Getman. They're forcing that ball to be downed in the end zone.
You might remember Tamon Cook took one to the house against Villanova last year. He's no longer around. But Aaron Harris certainly a big force. Maybe the Aggies can get some offense via the special teams. As who will be the quarterback?
Yeah, it looks like Braxton Thomas will get the start here in the first series.
6'3", 220-pound rookie out of Sarasota, Florida. As they do a little pop pass and it's fumbled.
Looks like they might have blown this dead before. Actually, that's going to be an incomplete pass because it was shuffled forward, so it's an incomplete pass. They'll put it back at the 25. So break there for the Aggies.
You see Villanova's defensive starters, a 3-3-5 stack that they play every year under defensive coordinator Ross Pennypacker. A&T hired a new offensive coordinator in David Marsh, who's in his first year, Steve, to try and make the offense more explosive. I think they've made some strides, haven't they? Yeah,
and you mentioned that you're going to see a lot of those kind of bubble sweeps, some gadgets today, try to catch the Villanova defense out of position.
On 2nd and 10, the offensive line is rather solid, so they got some push in the running game last weekend.
I think that was Blizzard getting his first carry. Nick mentioned what a week he had last week against William & Mary. Villanova will be key on him on this 3rd down and 6.
Tons of injuries. Kenji Christian and Wesley Graves, their top 2 running backs to start the year. They've both been out for several weeks, so it's a lot of Cameron Dalrymple and that guy, Shameik Blizzard, who's now wearing number 9 as it's 3rd and 6. North Carolina A&T just 33% on 3rd down this year as they'll throw, and it's broken up.
Yeah, good play by Christian Sapp. He broke on that ball. He's a half a step away from picking that off and probably taking it to the house down the sideline, but a good read by Sapp, who comes in on that dime package. Watch him. You'll see him in the right, just break on that ball, gets his left hand in there and knocks it away.
Christian Sapp, the senior out of East Stroudsburg, PA, getting a stop and a 3 and out for North Carolina A&T.
Tanner Maddox back to return this punt for the Wildcats.
The punter for the Aggies is DJ Page, a freshman, but a flag is down.
Short kick, so.
False start, offense, number 37. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Alex Perella is the official for today.
That'll move the Aggies back 5 yards. Mitchell Etheridge, the 3rd.
Please put 14:09 on the game clock. 14:09.
A reserve outside linebacker with the false start.
Well, Steve, Villanova has one of their backup quarterbacks as their punt returner. What do you make of that this season?
He's done a great job of fielding punts, not letting them hit the ground. He does a good job here just running up and catching the football. Because that hits the turf, Nick, it could bound 10, 15 extra yards. He did a great job last week. He's got really good hands. So, really, he'll fair catch more than he doesn't, but he's saving yardage by coming up and making those plays.
We know Steve Pannone likes when punt returners catch the punts. I've heard 1 or 2 times.
Yeah, well, maybe even 3 times.
Villanova's offense normally makes the big plays, Steve. What have they had to work on the most this year?
Yeah, they just have a young offensive line. They have 2 redshirt freshmen and a true freshman up front. So the deep pass routes that take a long time to develop, they just haven't been able to get this with this young line and a lot of new receivers to break in. So they've kind of lived on the run game and then occasionally hit some plays in the pass game.
Connor Watkins is the preseason CAA Offensive Player of the Year. Normally it's a strong running game, but bottled up early on is Villanova and David Abbott.
Yeah, Malik Jacobs from his inside linebacker position going to pick up a 1-yard loss there.
William and Mary had a good push on their offensive line, as at times the Aggies have not been able to get their defense off the field this season, and they've fallen behind. How important is it for North Carolina A&T to get off to a good start?
Yeah, because they're not built to come from behind. They don't really have the passing game to do that, so they can't get down 2-3 scores.
Here's a nice play out in space for Villanova.
That's Jalen Sanchez on the little reverse. A good job by David Abbott. He made the big block in the hole there to spring him. They pick up going to make a 3rd and short, I guess, about a half-yard short of that first down. You see Abbott 24 here coming. Just tick that man off right there. And then Sanchez does the rest, getting upfield. So 3rd and 1 here for the Wildcats. They go with a little wishbone look almost with 3 running backs in there.
The Wildcats are 36% on 3rd down. They were a lot better in that department a season ago. It's Connor Watkins will fire, and he's got the first down.
Yeah, Jabril Mace. So that's a new formation. I haven't seen that out of the Wildcats all year. Kind of an old wishbone formation, but the quarterback's not under center. And they hit it out. They split it out to Mace, who's got really good hands, and he gets it out into Aggie territory for the first down.
The redshirt freshman out of Summers Point, New Jersey, makes his 9th catch of the year.
They just split him out, get some space, get a block downfield, and pick up a first down.
He's probably their best receiving running back out of the bunch.
Yep, no doubt.
Can Villanova's new look offensive line, they've been without Temi Ajora-Tutu most of the season, as they pitch it out to Jabril Mace, who moves over on the left side of the field.
Yeah, he's going to pick up about 9 yards on first down. Good job by the wide receivers. Sanchez down there blocking, Devin Smith as well. And you see good running plays, especially wide. You're going to need wide receivers to block well. And they did a good job here. Watch these guys out front. See Smith there. Good job by Sanchez there. And then you see Smith out wide. That leads to a 9-yard gain on first down.
Villanova averages just over 20 points per game. It was a higher scoring offense last year when they won 10 ball games, went to the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs. As they'll keep it on the ground, as Connor Watkins will take it himself, actually.
Yeah, he'll just get past the marker and slide down for the first down.
Talking with Vince Brown, the head coach, she was certainly concerned about the running ability of Connor Watkins, who's a terrific passer, but can certainly put the ball and take it himself. He's great as a running quarterback too, Steve.
Probably the toughest thing to defend is the quarterback run. You just don't really have a player for that. And a good job there. Good read by Watkins to pick up the first down.
Stephon Voltaire is a veteran left tackle, and Jake Picard is a good solid center. This is open on the other side. This time, Villanova has it complete.
That's the freshman Chris Colby picking up a first down. The Wildcats doing good. I like the short passing attacker. Get Watkins comfortable. Not everything downfield. Short, get 3-step drop, get rid of the football, get it out wide. Let your wide receivers make some plays. A good job here by Colby. And he'll get upfield and finish off the run and pick up a first down.
The ball will be at the 29-yard line, as Villanova ranks 88th on offense. So they've won with their defense we talked about in the open, but so far they're moving the football, and North Carolina A&T has struggled on defense this year. Much better this time around, as not much running room for Villanova.
Yeah, David Abbott will pick up maybe 2 on first down. Wildcats have had more success going wide against this Aggie defense. A couple of the inside handoffs have been well defended.
Lots of familiar faces gone from last year on offense, with Jaron Hayek, the receiver. Rajon Pringle had an awesome year receiving, setting a lot of historical records. And D. Will Barley and Jalen Jackson, old running backs. So it's a lot of new faces on offense this year, Steve.
Yeah, a lot of turnover there, where a lot of the returning players were on the defensive side of the ball, and they played that way. They played like an experienced group.
David Abbott is in the backfield on 2nd and 9 as the play fake. Watkins will fire. Too tall, incomplete. It's intended for Luke Daly.
Yeah, just a little bit high. But to get a credit to the O-line, it gave Watkins some time there to set back and kind of survey the field. Credit to secondary here. Just it looks like he breaks it maybe a little bit sooner. That ball's just a little bit high for Daly.
This is a big down for North Carolina A&T. They rank just 107th in the country in third down defense. So what can Villanova come up with here?
Yeah, they're going to go 4 wide here. Take the tight end out.
2 excellent cornerbacks for the Aggies in number 1, Karan Prunty, a preseason All-American, and Aaron Harris on the other side. Watkins, he gets hit as he throws, but completes it, and it is a touchdown! Jalen Sanchez scores!
And it's a similar route they ran on the other side of the field last week down at Hampton. It's just an in route, a crossing route in the middle of the field. Sanchez able to pull it down again and then finishes off the run. He gets hit about the 3, and he carries the defender into the end zone for a Wildcat touchdown.
They got a hit on the quarterback.
See, right there is contacted about the 4, and just the strength of Sanchez to stretch that ball out across the goal line.
Karan Prunty, the corner, tried to take him down as there was some space.
Yeah, got a wrap there. He just kind of lowered the shoulder but didn't wrap Sanchez, and Sanchez uses his strength to get into the end zone.
Greg Featherstone, the safety out of Texas, missed the tackle, and Villanova strikes first as Jalen Sanchez has his 3rd receiving touchdown of the year. As the point after for Ethan Getman makes it a 7-0 lead for Villanova.
Media timeout.
As they're trying for their 8th win of the season. They haven't lost at home in 2 years as the Wildcats on top early over the Aggies. Number 8 scoring defense in the country. They're holding opponents to 17.8 points per game. For more on that, let's check in with the 3rd member of our team, Tessa Peloso.
Thanks, Nick. I caught up with defensive coordinator Ross Pennypacker this week and asked him about these linebackers, Brendan Bell and Shane Hartzell, and the impact that they have on this defense. And he says, we have a very defense-centric defense with these linebackers. He says, we expect these guys to make a lot of plays, and each week they do their best that they can. You know, the course of history of Villanova football, we've always had a lot of good linebackers, and these guys get excited to play this position when they come here. They have a lot on their plate, but we expect them to make these big plays and big tackles. And these guys have really bought into being the quarterbacks of the defense. These two, though, they're great friends. They have a healthy competition, and if you ask either of them, they would sacrifice their individual success for their team success, and that is just what helps the team win, and they just want to do whatever it takes to win, guys.
Aaron Harris with a terrific return close to midfield, and the linebackers have been dynamite. Both Brendan Bell and Shane Hartzell are in the top 10 in the conference in tackles per game.
Yeah, let's credit J.R. Strauss on that tackle too, or otherwise he probably picks up another 10 or 15 yards. So good field position here for the Aggies.
Let's see what they have. They'll throw on first down, but it's dropped as Braxton Thomas fired it in the direction of Anthony Rucker, his tight end out of Orlando.
Yeah, that one hit the ground. Ethan Potter right there to put a hit on him too. To add insult to injury, you drop the ball and you still get a pop.
Lots of veterans for Villanova in the secondary at the safety and corner spots. As Tessa just told us, the linebackers have been exquisite. And some familiar faces on the defensive line that are getting more playing time this year. There's a nice hole for Shamik Blizzard as he drives it forward for a few yards.
He's going to pick up about 8 on first down. So, excuse me, on second down. So it's 3rd and short here. So that's what the Aggies need to do. They need to stay in, down in distance. Make it 3rd and manageable here, where you can still have the whole playbook available to you.
So a terrific offensive line. Jason Ivey's an awesome left tackle. R.J. Adams, a very stout right tackle. Corian Sharp has played in 36 games as the right guard.
This Villanova defense has been very good in short yardage all year long. Let's see what they can do here, 3rd and 2.
But without Cesar Monaro, it's been tough.
They're going to be short. So the Villanova defense does its job again. Hartzell in there. Somebody down low as well. Couldn't make out his number. Now that would have been Wobodeau, 98. So that's going to bring up 4th and 1. So decision time here for head coach Vincent Brown. Looks like he'll keep the offense out there.
And Richie Kimmel, the linebacker, number 44, was able to make part of the stop. So Vince Brown will keep his offense on the field. And Braxton Thomas, the young quarterback, will be in the shotgun. They'll run the football. Shamik Blizzard, I don't think he got there.
Yeah, I don't know if you challenge this Villanova defense. They're going to give him the first down.
They do give it to him, Steve.
Must have been second effort there, because he was stopped short of the line again and then spun off and I guess got the first down.
Aiden Howard, the defensive lineman, put his hands up and disagreed.
Yeah, let's see how the play finishes up there. Oh, they never got him down, so he's still leg driving.
So an important conversion, but not much there on first down for the Aggies. Their scoring offense ranks just 112th of the country, only averaging 16.7 points per game.
Offside, defense, number 97. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And lining up in the neutral zone was Chuck Smith.
The Wofford transfer.
So instead of 2nd and 11, it'll be 1st and 5.
Braxton Thomas has played in 2 games this year as he went 5 for 8 through the air with 28 passing yards against William and Mary last weekend. They'll throw 3 receivers at the top of your screen. Only 6 left on the play clock as the play fake and the throw is low and incomplete. They have Jerkari Caldwell back. He did not play against William and Mary a week ago.
Yeah, Villanova just read that out. The 3 wide, what they try to do is drop a receiver back and then have the other 2 guys block downfield. Villanova read that well and kind of blew that up from the start. Then the low throw didn't help from the quarterback as well.
Jerkari Caldwell started his career at South Carolina. Had a terrific game against Richmond where he hauled in 130 yards receiving. They were in that game against the Spiders. One of their better performances of the year as this goes nowhere for the Aggies.
And run down from behind. Wildcat down on the play. That's who made the tackle. Let's hope that's not Brendan Bell. Wildcats cannot afford to lose him.
Timeout for an injured player.
And it is Bell who ran that down from the weak side.
Now, certainly the last thing that Villanova needs.
And Bell is up and a walk off under his own power, so that's a good sign.
A 5th-year linebacker out of New Jersey. His brother Ryan used to be a tight end for Villanova several years ago. They'll call it 3rd and 7 for North Carolina A&T. Played in the Big South for 2 seasons. Now it's their 2nd year in the CAA.
See if the Wildcats look to bring pressure. It looks like they're going to come with 3.
Braxton Thomas, the freshman quarterback from the pocket. Now he takes off. He's a running option. He gets about 5.
So he's going to be short. So that's going to bring up 4th down and call it 4. And let's see what Vincent Brown wants to do here. If he wants to keep his offense out there. He went for it 4th and 1 back about 10 yards ago. Let's see if he goes for it here.
Both teams have good kickers, but this is too long of a field goal try.
Yeah, so it looks like he'll bring on the punting unit.
So they'll try to back Villanova up as DJ Page, the freshman punter out of Florida, comes out again. Just a 1-8 record for North Carolina A&T.
And Maddox back inside his 10-yard line at about the 8.
The only win for the Aggies was a 27-20 win over Winston-Salem in overtime, as that will be downed inside the 15.
So a good job by Page as he pins the Wildcats back at about the 11-yard line.
That win against Winston-Salem was the first home win for North Carolina A&T in the 2-year tenure for Vincent Brown, who played for the Patriots, was a 3-time All-Pro pick. And now Villanova's offense will try to make some noise. Steve, a very productive first drive they had.
Yeah, it really was. They were able to convert a 3rd down as well, and then hit a big play in the passing game, which has been a sight for sore eyes for this Villanova offense. It's kind of in the last 2 weeks they've picked up a couple big plays to Jalen Sanchez now. There
have been some injuries on the defensive line for William & Mary this year. So far, they've held up pretty well against Villanova.
Yeah, it's Isaiah Ragland. He's going to lose a yard. That's going to bring up 2nd down and 11.
DeAndre Dingle-Prince from Appalachian State's only played in 2 games. They were hoping for a lot from Josh Hardy, the Boston College transfer. He's missed a couple. Mac David, the excellent linebacker, did not play the last couple of weeks. Their starting safeties, David Laney and Ty Williams, were hurt early in the year. So it's been one injury after another. As Vince Brown said, it's been very tough playing without a lot of its key players this season. It'll be 2nd and 11 for the Wildcat offense. Normally very astute in the run game. They bounce it outside with Isaiah Ragland.
Get it out to the 14. Going to bring up 3rd down and 7. So a big play here for the Aggie defense. See if they can force a Wildcat punt and get decent field position.
Number 16, Terrion George, the Joker, a freshman out of Douglasville, Georgia, was there to help make the stop, along with Greg Featherstone, the safety.
Wildcats go with 2 backs as they'll bring Jabril Mason, kind of the pass-catching running back for the Wildcats.
Connor Watkins, his 34th career start. He ranks in the top 10 in school history in passing yards. He can also run the football. Connor Watkins has nowhere to go with it as Greg Featherstone's in on the tackle again.
Yeah, so the Aggie defense gets his stop on a 3-and-out.
That has to make Vince Brown happy. He's a defense-first guy, and his team comes up with a big stop.
Yeah, just no one open downfield as Watkins escaped the pocket here. Keeps his eyes downfield, but just doesn't see anybody, and fortunately now just has to tuck the football and take the hit.
Ethan Getman does everything, the kickoffs, the punts, the place kicking, as Aaron Harris will watch it bounce. And an excellent kick for Villanova.
Nick, that's why you catch punts.
I've only heard it a dozen times through my years.
It works both ways.
Idiot, timeout.
You got to get up underneath that football and catch it. They're going to lose 15 yards of field position.
Villanova has a 7-0 lead here at home.
In moments of vulnerability, it's only human to seek warmth and expertise. Mainline Health is the place where both your health and humanity matter, where ultrasounds come with understanding, where tests are met with tenderness, where EKGs are as important as empathy, the place where you will never be your only advocate, the place for a lifetime of care delivered neighbor to neighbor. Mainline Health, where human care has a home.
Home is for making dreams come true, for making memories that will last, for forging lifelong friendships, for watching your loved ones grow. The time is now to find the freedom that comes with pre-qualifying for a new home, or refinance in minutes and unlock the freedom to do the exciting things you've always wanted to do. Whichever path you choose, you can achieve your goals and celebrate the freedom of home ownership with Freedom Mortgage. Start making your dreams a reality at freedommortgage.com/dreams.
A sunny day here at Villanova Stadium. As we said in the open, the Wildcats have won 13 straight games here at their home stadium. Steve Pannone, Nick Montaigne, Tessa Peloso, A strong season in 2023 when Villanova got the automatic bid, even though it was a three-way tie at the top of the CAA standings, as they beat Delaware on the final day and went to the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs. But a different season, winning with a lot of defense compared to the explosive offense that Villanova had last year. And now a chance for the Aggies after a big stop. They moved the football well on their previous drive. They went with a lot of young players last weekend as a penalty flag.
And blow this one dead before the start of the play.
Braxton Thomas getting the start today, the rookie quarterback.
False start. Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Jason Ivey, a terrific tackle, moved too quickly there.
And that's what A&T can't afford to do, is these pre-snap penalties. Put yourself in 1st and 15.
A&T without Cesar Monaro. There's great center for the second straight game, but it's still a very good offensive line. Shameik Blizzard whips through.
And Jalen Goodman on the tackle. So that'll bring up 2nd down and long.
Jalen Goodman in his 6th year. Terrific safety from Narberth, Pennsylvania. It's been a strength. Terrific secondary for Mark Ferrante and his staff for season after season. It's 2nd and 13 for North Carolina A&T, trying to break a 7-game losing streak. They decided to go with the younger of the quarterbacks for today. Braxton Thomas fires for Jakari Caldwell, but it's out of bounds.
That's a heck of a one-handed catch that doesn't count. He went up with his right hand and pulled it in, but he was already out of bounds. Caldwell with a great grab.
They're happy to have him back as he missed the William and Mary game last week. Had 2 touchdowns at South Carolina State and had that big game against Richmond. 2 years at South Carolina for Jakari Caldwell, who is their top target. Last year, the quarterbacks for North Carolina A&T struggled big time. Only 5 touchdown passes last year compared with 8 interceptions. This year, their passing offense is better under David Marsh, their new offensive coordinator, as Braxton Thomas takes off and spins, and he has the first down.
I think it's going to be short, Nick.
A little bit short.
Yeah, they had to get all the way out past the 35. Garrett Rogan in the dime package makes the tackle, so that'll bring up the punt team.
So Thomas gets some of the yardage back. You see Shane Hartzell there.
And Rogan with a nice form tackle there. That'll bring on the punt team.
So a better stop from Villanova's defense this time. The Wildcats ranked number 11. Their highest ranking in one of the 2 polls for this week, as the punt will trickle out of bounds.
Wildcats get really good field position here right at the 40-yard line.
So we'll see if their offense can make a little bit more progress than the last drive. The 13 straight wins here at home. It's the longest for Villanova since winning 15 straight from 2008 to 2010. We'll see how their new look offensive line, having to replace guys like Michael Corby, a 2-time All-American guard, plus Nick Torres was a veteran. So can they get more push, as we've seen the defensive line for A&T get enough stops at the point of attack. It's on the ground for first down, and a nice chunk for the Wildcats.
Yeah, good job by Isaiah Ragland there to finish off that run.
So a better push for Villanova.
Some little extracurriculars there. Ryan Cregan involved a little bit with the A&T defenders.
A gain of about 6 for Villanova.
So a nice productive play on first down here. And the Wildcats kind of going with this full house backfield look. 2 backs flanking Watkins, and then I think it's Abbott in the pistol formation right behind the quarterback.
Villanova averages 167 yards on the ground. It's been a strength in the run game almost every season traditionally for Villanova.
It's going to bring up 3rd down and about 2. So an opportunity here in short yardage for the Wildcats.
They rank inside the top 50 in rushing offense, does Villanova. It's been a lot of David Abbott after a lot of D. Will Barley and Jalen Jackson for many seasons. It's suddenly a rookie who's gotten the bulk of the carries this year for Mark Ferrante. David Abbott with 632 rushing yards to lead the team. A very fast running back. It is the rookie, David Abbott. He's got the first down. He's into the secondary.
He really would have cut back by Abbott there. Did a great job just cutting back, and Featherstone saved a touchdown and a safety deep, but a big pickup on 3rd and 2 by the young freshman.
And Aaron Harris, the corner, also was there, as that will end the first quarter. As David Abbott with a terrific run.
Yeah, put your foot in the ground and get north and south. He does a great job of that, and then finishes with the stiff arm.
Featherstone and Harris make the stop after a gain of 19 as Villanova has a 7-0 lead, as we'll head to the second quarter when we return. Villanova has hit their 3rd downs early on, 3 of 4, while North Carolina A&T is 0 for 4 in that department as our first quarter stats.
Yeah, you like balance. Villanova can't do much better than that. 44 on the ground, 45 in the air.
Live from Villanova Stadium, welcome back to the broadcast. Steve Pannone, Nick Montagna, and Tessa Peloso, our wonderful crew on a sunny day here in the Philadelphia area, as Villanova broke off that run to end the first quarter, and they keep it on the ground with David Abbott, the freshman running back.
Yeah, he'll get about 1 on first down, 2nd down and 9.
These teams played last year in Greensboro, a 37-14 win for Villanova, who had 537 yards of total offense as they ran for 248. But A&T led 14-13 late in the second quarter, and then Villanova had 2 late touchdowns before the half. As they pitch it in the backfield, Villanova with a ton of running room that time.
Yeah, they flip it to Devin Smith. He shows his speed around the edge. He gets it out to about the 25. Bring up 3rd and 2.
I think the North Carolina A&T fans know him well. He played for North Carolina Central.
The grad transfer. So now 3rd and 2. Again, interesting to see here if the Wildcats don't convert what Coach Ferrante does here. We kick the field goal. We try to go for it on 4th down. Let's hope that's not a decision he has to make because the Wildcats convert here on third down.
Devin Smith had a big game with over 200 yards receiving in the playoff loss to Richmond as we get a timeout.
Yeah, A&T is going to take a timeout.
Be 30 seconds.
So on third down, this is a good timeout by Vince Brown to talk about it. We've seen his defense make some stops. They were looking good at times last weekend against William & Mary, but then there'd be some breakdowns, Steve.
Yeah,
and that must be tough for a defensive-minded head coach.
Yeah, it's the consistency they lack. They'll make plays, and then they'll have a breakdown, and that's what really hurts you when you're not having the kind of season you want to have. It's not because you don't play well all the time. It's you just have too many mental breakdowns or physical breakdowns in the game that lead to big plays, or you don't get a big stop when you need it, and that's kind of been the story of A&T's season so far this year.
And look at the game at Richmond, a ranked team. A&T led 10-0 in the second quarter. That game was 10-10 at halftime. A&T led 10-7 late in the second quarter against Wake Forest. Against good teams, they've had the lead, but it's about putting it all together, isn't it?
You got to play 60 minutes of football, and that's been their issue this year.
Villanova got by Hampton, an improved team on the road last weekend. As Villanova will have it 3rd and 2. Last year, they were better on third down. This year, not quite as good at just 36%. But as we said when we came back, they're 3 of 4 today on third down. It's Connor Watkins to take it himself, and he's got the first down.
Good decision by Watkins there as the end collapsed, and he said, I can get to the line and gain, and just takes it around left end for a first down. So big conversion on third down. So you see right there, the end dives in, and Watson says, I can beat him to the sticks.
He ran for 107 yards in the opening win of the season against Youngstown State. A tremendous career.
Let's see if the Wildcats take a shot here on first down inside just about at the 21-yard line. Maybe a go route to Kopecky. They converted that against New Hampshire from about this same spot on the field.
On first down, a big hole for David Abbott as he barrels into a couple of defenders.
He's going to get that thing all the way down to the 7-yard line. So a 14-yard gain on first down for Abbott. That's a couple of gaping holes he's had. So credit the line up front. They're starting to move some people around.
Jake Picard, the
Picard
center.
At center and the 2 guards. McCullers doing a nice job in there, and also Tommy Broderick as well.
You have Tommy Broderick, the left guard, Chris McCullers, the right guard. They're both redshirt freshmen compared to an older offensive line that Villanova had in the past. Mark Ferrante's team always very good up front traditionally, so you expect this offensive line to be better as they get older.
Yeah, Sean Devine does a great job with that group and has since he's come to Villanova.
First and goal, Watkins fires, it's bobbled, and then it's dropped and out of bounds.
I think he ended up finally securing it, but he was out of bounds by the time. And Jalen Sanchez will want that one back. He said, I could have had a 2-touchdown day right there, and just couldn't get his hands around it before he ended up out of bounds. Take a look at it here. Good throw from Watkins. It's right in the hands, and he just, as he dives, and he's out of bounds with it. It looks like the elbow hits out before he can pull that one in. So well-executed play in terms of the getting your receiver open, just unable to haul it in is Sanchez.
Second and goal from the 7. It's David Abbott and nowhere to run.
Yeah, that play got blown up. It was a high snap. Watkins just did a good job to get it down, but the timing of that play was all off. So you go from what should have been a touchdown, and now you're 3rd and goal from outside the 10.
Henry Daniel, the defensive end, number 34. And there's Greg Featherstone, number 30, making a lot of plays today.
And it's Stephon Voltaire down. That's not a good sign. He's your one veteran you have up front along with Picard. Looks like he's got an issue with his left hand or arm.
So you expected your tackles to be your experienced linemen, but Temi Ajora-Tutu, an all-conference tackle, has been out for Villanova most of the year. And Stephon Voltaire, in his 4th year, has played 33 games. A player you can ill afford to lose.
Yeah, it looks like Quinn Whalen's going to fill in. He'll probably come in at a guard spot, and they'll maybe bump Broderick out to tackle. We'll see what they do here. Looks like Voltaire's jogging off. Look like something with his left hand. So hopefully he can return.
How tough is that to play musical chairs during the game, Steve, on the line?
That's not what you want, obviously, and hopefully Steph can get back out there. It looks like he's got something with his left hand. So we'll see what they do here. I think, like I mentioned, Whalen will probably fill in a guard, and they'll bump Broderick out to tackle. And that's exactly what they're going to do. You'll see. Going to move a lot of people around out there, but that's what it's going to be.
Henry Daniel doing a good job, a terrific defensive end to make that stop, and now a flag is down as we'll check the marker.
Illegal substitution, offense, 12-men in formation, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Do they have 12 men in the huddle, Steve?
It looks like it. I see Nolan Clayton was going to jog off. Now it's going to be Lopes that's coming off. So they did have 12 men out there. So they lose another 5 yards. So we go away from inches from a touchdown, and now you're looking at 3rd and goal from the 16.
And Villanova's been good in the red zone this year.
We'll see if they can pass protect. This is going to take a while to see if they can get something here from 3rd and goal.
Connor Watkins, he's looking to throw. Watkins heaves it into the end zone, and it is incomplete.
That's Lucas Kopecky who came down with it. I'd like to see a review of this. I guess he's going to be out of bounds with the officials because he caught the football. Was he able to get a foot in? And they're going to say no.
Kopecky, the transfer from the lacrosse
let's
team.
See if he can get a foot down here. I think that's a touchdown, Nick.
Did he have control of it all the way through, Steve?
I'd like to see this again. There's the throw. I'm not sure why that's not a touchdown.
It'll be a 33-yard field goal for Ethan Getman. The kick is on its way, and it is good. And Villanova makes it a 10-0 lead. They don't get the touchdown, but they walk away with points, and Villanova extends their lead over North Carolina A&T.
The play wasn't even reviewed, so obviously maybe he didn't catch the ball and control it all the way to the ground. Because it looked like he had a foot in when he possessed it.
Military Appreciation Weekend as Villanova has a 10-point edge early on against North Carolina A&T. Second meeting as these teams met last year when Villanova picked up the win in Greensboro. But that's when Kevin White, the quarterback, got the start. He was the starter at the beginning of the year, but he's been out with a shoulder injury that happened against North Carolina Central. Then they went with Justin Fomby, of course, and he played last week. But now it's a lot of Braxton Thomas. So 3 quarterbacks have played for the Aggies this season.
Yeah, and Nick, I think Thomas is the right decision. He's a freshman. You're not going to play a 6th-year player at this point of the season when you're 1-7. Give you a chance and opportunity to see what the freshman can do.
Can they get something on special teams with Aaron Harris, who's a terrific return man?
He's done a nice job. It's his 2nd good return. Wildcats may have to look into if they want to keep kicking him the football.
He had a 100-yard kick return touchdown on the opening play against North Carolina Central. Also had a pick 6 of 70 yards against Delaware earlier this season. So from Tamon Cook last year, who had 3 touchdown kick returns, 1 against Villanova, that number led the nation. So Vincent Brown has had good return men in each of his first 2 seasons. But what can he get from his quarterback, Steve, as Braxton Thomas is 0 for 5 throwing the football.
Yeah, that's going to be the thing, too. And they're going to stay on the ground here early on.
And a nice hole in the run game as a gain of close to 9 for the Aggies.
That was Coles, the running back. First look we've had at him.
Let's leave the game for one play with helmet coming off.
That's Daniel Coles, the freshman running back out of Stafford, Virginia. They've had injuries to Kenji Christian and Wesley Graves, their top 2 backs to start the year.
Clock operator, please reset the game clock to 10:52, 10:52.
Vince Brown talking with him this week, Steve. He loves old school football, running the rock, playing good defense. That's Villanova has the stop there on second down.
Yeah, it's going to be 3rd and 1.
Second consecutive carry for Daniel Coles. You see Ethan Potter's had a big year, number 34 in blue, the safety.
Is there a flag down, Nick? Not sure what the referees are stopping this for. I didn't see the flag. Yeah, there is one down there, so let's see what they have. Looks like they're pointing against Villanova.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct number 0. Defense. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. Automatic. First down.
That's Ice Waxter
That's
who
number
picks it up.
0's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
I did not see it, so we'll have to.
So it was a dead ball foul. That's why there was a delay.
Something after the play.
So that moves the football into plus territory for the Aggies. Coming off a 45-7 loss to William & Mary, who led 21-0 after the first quarter. Shamik Blizzard ran the ball very well last weekend for a career-high 132 yards, as we said from the outset. But they're going with Daniel Coles as Villanova stands him up.
Give him about 4 on first down.
Brendan Bell, the excellent linebacker, who has 77 tackles entering today.
Aggies look to go a little quick here. No huddle.
A little bit more pep in their step. But Villanova's all over it defensively there.
And
with
nice
Chuck
job,
Smith.
Chuck Smith coming off the defensive end position to bring up an all-important 3rd down.
The Georgia native makes the stop. Vince Brown hails from Atlanta in his 2nd year as the head coach. Mark Ferrante in year number 8 as the head coach, but his 38th overall season with the staff. And a big 3rd down coming up for North Carolina A&T.
Yeah, 3rd and 4 here.
They're 0 for 4 on 3rd down today. They rank just 93rd in the country in 3rd down. David Marsh, the new offensive coordinator, will shift a lot of players at the line of scrimmage if you watch A&T play. On 3rd down, Braxton Thomas has it complete. It's got the first down as it's caught by Daniel Coles, the running back.
Yeah, he got this, just slipped Coles out of the backfield up the middle, and he just gets out in the flat, and then he makes Mims miss, and he picks up a first down.
That's the first completion of the game. Well, that's Justin Fomby who's coming to the game. So Justin Fomby makes the play. So A&T switches quarterbacks, and now they complete a pass, Steve.
And so they're going with this hurry up, too, trying to catch the Wildcats off guard.
They're making the switch at quarterback. They played both of them last week. And more of a hurry-up look as Justin Fomby, the 6th-year quarterback out of Lawrenceville, Georgia, fires it incomplete.
He just throws that one away. They rolled him out. Nobody was out there.
So Justin Fomby started his career at Northern Iowa, 2019, 2020, 2021. Then played at Houston Christian in each of the last 2 years. In 2022, he had 16 touchdown passes and 3 300-yard passing games. Played very well in the loss to Richmond, where he threw for 261 through the air. But it's 3rd and 6 for the Aggies as they hand it off, and Villanova's ready for it that time.
So it's going to bring up a 4th down decision here from the head coach, Vincent Brown. It looks like he's going to try to kick the field goal and get some points on the board.
Shamik Blizzard, not a lot of room to operate with.
It'll be about a 34-yard attempt.
Andrew Brown is an accomplished kicker. He missed last year with a knee injury. He started the season 10 of 11, but he's just 1 for 5 on field goals over the last 3. Can A&T get on the scoreboard? And they do. Andrew Brown's kick makes it a 10-3 ball game midway through the second quarter as a productive drive for the visitors. Villanova still leads it by a touchdown.
Yeah, just a good job there by A&T. They got to keep this in a kind of a one-score game, and now getting it back to a 7-point deficit, and then bring your defense out and try to get a stop.
So, Steve, just as you say, they should play the young quarterback. They go to the veteran guy because they feel like you still need a chance to win and move the football.
Yep, and you're right in there, and it's a 10-0 game here in the first half. You get yourself on the board now. I think it was the right decision by Vincent Brown. Get some points. Give you something to be positive about. Go back out there and try to get a stop by your defense and get right back in this game.
A 9-play, 46-yard drive, and making the switch as the quarterback finally completes a pass for A&T, and only down by 7. You have to feel at least somewhat good if you're Vince Brown. Vincent Brown played for the Patriots, was an awesome defensive player at Mississippi Valley State. I was reading about his nickname, Steve. This is great. He was called The Undertaker back in the day. You like that?
I do like that.
That's what happens when you make a lot of tackles on defense. You get the good nicknames. A number of CAA battles all kicking off at 1 o'clock Eastern time today, including Delaware and Rhode Island. One of the best games in the entire country this weekend. This will be a knee in the end zone for Villanova. A little bit of pushing and shoving afterwards. So it was a tight ball game between these teams last year at the midway point of the second quarter. And we have ourselves a bit of a ball game here 1 year later.
Yeah. So you see Ice Waxter up at the top of the screen. Both guys kind of pushing and shoving there. Let's see if there's something late. Oh, there's the slap to the helmet. That's probably what they saw, and that's what drew the flag.
So the 15-yard unsportsmanlike ended up giving a big chunk play to the Aggies, which put them in the field goal position. And now Connor Watkins, the sixth-year quarterback, is back there for himself. Here is Connor Watkins going downfield. It's caught.
What a play by Dev Smith. He made an adjustment in midair as that ball's kind of a back shoulder throw. He goes back behind his body, high points the football, and a big play on first down.
Devin Smith, the North Carolina Central transfer. He knows a thing or two about the rivalry with A&T.
That's a really good catch. Good throw by Watkins as well. And more importantly, Steph Voltaire back in the lineup at left tackle.
A gain of 34 yards.
Yeah, that's good coverage. Just a better adjustment by Smith.
That man-to-man coverage with Aaron Harris. And now Connor Watkins makes a block.
Yeah, he did a good job freeing Isaiah Ragland for a first down.
The redshirt freshman running back out of Virginia.
So the Wildcats with back-to-back first downs, one through the air and one on the ground.
Now both teams rotate in a couple different running backs. Connor Watkins looks to the sideline. He's top 10 in school history in touchdown passes with 45 of them. As last week against Hampton, he became the 8th Villanova quarterback to throw for 6,000 yards in a career. This one's caught again by Devin Smith.
Gets it inside the 25. So a nice pickup again on first down.
A gain of 7. It's typically the big play that you see historically for Connor Watkins. His 15.6 yards per completion is #1 in Villanova history. Last year he was 2nd in the nation in that category, but you have different receivers this year.
Yeah, he always just thrown a good deep ball.
And Devin Smith has been one of his best new deep targets. They fake it. Connor Watkins going up top again, but this is too tall.
Yeah, I think he threw that one out of the end zone on purpose. There's a couple of flags down here. Let's see. One might be a late hit, and the other one might be a hold. This could be offsetting.
It was intended for Lucas Kopecky.
Looks like it's going to be against Villanova. See, two separate flags, but they're not talking to Coach Ferrani. They're talking to Coach Brown.
Holding. Offense number 20. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Second down.
Now, Wildcats were in a good spot there, 2nd and 3. Now it's going to be 2nd and 13.
Holding on Isaiah Ragland, the running back. Must be comforting for the entire offense and Mark Ferrante that Stephon Voltaire is able to return to the lineup at his left tackle spot.
Wildcats will go 4 wide here. So we've seen a couple of different formations. They've gone with the 3 running backs at times. They've gone, obviously they're conventional 3 wide in the tight end or 4 wide.
There's a stop for the defense for the Aggies.
Yeah, maybe a yard at all, if that, for Abbott. So going to be 3rd and long again.
Josh Isaiah, the excellent sophomore linebacker out of Charlotte, is there.
Now here, if you're the Wildcats, it's 3rd and about, second. Yeah, it's 3rd and 13. But you don't need it all. If you can get 7 or 8, you get yourself field goal range, or you get maybe a little bit more. You give yourself a decision if you want to go for it on 4th down or not.
A&T will play 3 at the line, and at times they'll have Javon Armstrong-Grady as an edge rusher. Number 98 will be a hybrid 3-4 type outside linebacker, as they'll bring in some pressure here to Connor Watkins, who's under duress, and he's taken down.
That'll probably force the punt team out on the field.
Cade Mullendar, the linebacker, has been one of their top tacklers this year. Vince Brown said, we haven't gotten enough pressure on the quarterback this season. That'll make Coach much happier.
And so the Wildcats went from 2nd and 3 and just end up in punt formation. So 3 negative plays in a row there. So credit the Aggie defense, and the Wildcat offense with the penalty really set them back.
And you see there, 98, Javon Armstrong-Grady, the edge rusher out of New Bern, North Carolina, who came in with 2.5 sacks.
Let's see if Getman can pin them deep here.
Aaron Harris watches it go out of bounds. And a terrific kick by Ethan Getman.
That'll be inside the 10-yard line, so nice job by Getman there.
Do you wonder how much offense Justin Fomby, who's played at 3 different schools, can give North Carolina A&T? Do they stick with him, Steve? That's the question.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how, what the rotation schedule is, or if they're just going to play the hot hand. Fomby got him 3 points. Do they stick with him, or they go back to Thomas?
I think it's the latter of the two. You play which one's giving you the most momentum. They come out with Justin Fomby.
Yep. Makes sense. He put a drive together, benefited by the penalty, but still, he's the one to put some points on the board.
Playing in his 27th career game. 6'4" quarterback.
Let's see if the Wildcats can get after him defensively here and try to get some field position, maybe a 3 and out.
It'll be a keeper for Justin Fomby as he has a 1st down.
So much for the 3 and out as they pick up a big chunk on 1st down.
He can run a little bit, as he's mostly been a throwing quarterback during the duration of his college career.
They list him at 216. He doesn't look that big, but he's 6'4", so I guess maybe he doesn't look like he's.
It's definitely been a quicker offense. Once again, the quarterback will take it himself.
There's a good tackle by Ethan Potter. Pick up a minimal gain, maybe 3 or 4 on 1st down.
Ethan Potter in his 5th year out of Chesapeake City in Maryland. A terrific member of Villanova's defense and their unbelievable secondary that they have year after year. It'll be 2nd and 5 for the Aggies. Both teams now operating with 6th-year quarterbacks as Brendan Bell's into the backfield.
Ball's on the ground, too. Let's see what they call it. Richie Kimmel just picked it up, but they're going to say he was down.
They're saying it's down.
Great play by Brendan Bell. Another tackle for loss. Last time he was here, he had 4.5 against New Hampshire.
Steve, he ranks number 36 in the country in that department.
Let's see if this ball comes out. No, it looks like he's on the ground for sure. Good call by the officials as he was down.
Shamik Blizzard had it, but he had already hit the turf.
Yeah, when he went down, then it came out.
So it's a loss of 4, which will make it 3rd and 9 A&T finally hit a third down on that previous drive. They're just 1 of 6. Fomby to the air. It's caught, complete.
It's going to be a little bit short, so it's going to be 4th down and about 1.
Davon Dillard makes the catch, the redshirt freshman.
Let's see, there comes like the punt. I think you got to punt the football here inside your own 35, and it looks like that's what Vincent Brown's going to do. I don't think you have much choice here. You know, you're in the football game. You can't give Villanova a short field.
It's the 2-minute timeout. Villanova leads it 10-3.
You can't hide what makes NJM Insurance so great. Although some may try. We're proud to put policyholders first. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM. What if all insurance companies were like NJM and didn't use mascots? And were known for putting their policyholders first? Then all those insurance mascots would have to get real jobs. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM.
New rule in college football for 2024, a 2-minute timeout. So it gives teams extra time at the end of the second quarter, Steve.
Yeah, you get that. Let's see the play by Brendan Bell here. Just coming off the left edge of the right side of the offensive line. He's in the backfield basically when they're handing the football off. It's almost like he knew the play more so than the Aggies did.
Brendan Bell having a fantastic year.
They're going to bring the offense back out. So much for the punt team. You're going to challenge this Villanova defense on a short yardage situation. As we talked about, Villanova's defense is very good against this all year. Let's see if they can get a stop. This is an interesting call by Vince. I don't know. I think I'd punt the football here just because you're only down 7. Why do you want to give the Villanova offense a short field?
They say it's 4th and 1. Maybe they think they can get a yard unless they're trying to draw them offside, Steve.
Yeah, and then you're going to give yourself 5 yards of field position.
Will they snap the football?
Yeah, maybe they'll call timeout when it gets down to 1, which would be smart.
Maybe they'll sneak up and try and get a push. Villanova says they're ready for it.
Then it's going to be a delay or a timeout. Let's see what they call. It's going to be delay a game.
Delay a game. Offense.
I think it was worth a shot.
Yeah, I think I would have used the timeout, though. I don't think I want to sacrifice the 5 yards of field position here.
So Vincent Brown looking to try and make Villanova move.
And Villanova, A&T had 2 timeouts. So I think I'd run it down to 1 and take the timeout, not give up the extra 5 yards of field position. But there's a big opportunity here for Villanova now with 2 minutes to go. You score here and then get the ball to start the second half and put one in. You can really break this game open if you can put a couple drives together.
And Steve, remember, before halftime last year when these teams played, Villanova had 2 late touchdowns as Tanner Maddox slipped down. He didn't touch it, and that ball will be down inside the 1.
So what a punt there. It was a low line drive punt to the right of Maddox. He's unable to get to it, and it rolled all the way down into 1.
That'll help DJ Page's punting average.
So the 5-yard penalty certainly didn't hurt. And now A&T's glad to have those 2 timeouts, and they'll use them defensively to try to maybe get the ball back.
See, Maddox went back. The turf monster got him.
Yeah, and then now A&T almost doesn't get on the other side of this because they're almost in the end zone.
Terrific play by Stephen Davis, the corner, number 19, to keep it out of the end zone.
So down it at the 2. Wildcats will need a first down here to try to, at worst, give there some room for Getman if he has to punt the ball away.
The Wildcats have outgained A&T, but the rushing yardage has been about even today. Just over 60 yards on the ground for each team. There's nowhere to go for Villanova.
I don't know if he got out of the end zone.
Is that a safety?
No, he said he just got out of the end zone.
A&T says it should be 2 points.
I'm going to mark him at the 1, so he's going to lose a yard. And if I'm A&T, I'm using my timeout here. They're not. They're going to let this clock run down. They have 2 timeouts. I guess they're going to save them for second and third down. So Villanova should run this whole clock all the way down before they snap it.
Forward progress, even though it's a gain of -1.
Still 25 on the play clock here. Villanova should not be any hurry. They snap the ball with 20 seconds to go.
Watkins back of the end zone as it's incomplete.
That's not a good job by the Villanova offense there. You're second and 11 on your own 1 yard line. You snap the ball with 20 seconds to go, and then you throw an incomplete pass.
Intended for
clock.
Jalen Sanchez.
So now it's third down in a bunch, and you're going to give this team the ball back with a minute to go here if you throw another incompletion, or A&T has 2 timeouts left.
So what would you do, Steve, here?
I would have run the 20 seconds off the clock last down. More importantly, I'm going to run the football here. I'm not taking a chance of a penalty in the end zone or something. I'm going to run this thing, try to get it out past the 5, and then punt the football.
Watkins in the shotgun. He will throw on 3rd and 11. And it's incomplete again. Watkins wants a flag.
Yeah, he's going to get it, too. It's going to be a late hit on the quarterback. So it's just a silly play by the North Carolina A&T defense. Just a silly play there.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense, number 13. A 15-yard penalty to the previous spot. Automatic.
The Terry's Glover. What a mistake this is. Your team's going to get the ball at about the 40-yard line. He hits him right in the helmet. Not a smart play at all, and Villanova gets bailed out.
I think it's the high hit more than anything that made it easy for the officials.
And the official's right back there. That's what he's looking for. But Glover with a big mistake there.
Previous plays under further review for potential targeting.
Steve, did you think because they hit him up high that this could be targeting?
Yeah, I don't know. It's not with a lot of force, I don't think. But, I don't know what force has to do with the ruling in terms of it's helmet-to-helmet contact. Does he lower the helmet? They'll have to take a look at this.
Remember, the quarterback, he's a defenseless player. So it gets a little bit trickier for a defender anytime you launch yourself, or if it's to the head or neck area. So he came up with his hands.
We saw the run replay. It's a tough angle to see. Let's see, here it is. This is a better angle here.
Darius Glover.
I think that's targeting. It's the hands first, and then he almost launches himself. See if he leaves the ground here.
A transfer from Austin Peay.
Yeah, this might be targeting.
Senior out of Georgia. Remember, you get a clean slate when it goes to the replay booth for targeting. You're innocent till proven guilty, as Thomas Beck is the replay official for this afternoon.
Yeah, and it wasn't called on the field, so it was whistled in from upstairs to take a look at this.
They have to go through the entire checklist, and it has to check every single box to be targeting. It's not just one indicator. You have to hit every single one of them. They've changed the rules in recent years to benefit the defender.
And then he threw him down on the end, too. That's the right call. Look, you'll see the hit here. Hands, and then that might be with the crown. I'm not so sure.
Steve, even the hands to the helmet, that could be considered targeting.
Mm-hmm. And then he threw him to the ground, which is not part of the targeting. That was part of the personal foul. And the referee looks like he's made his decision. Let's wait to hear from him.
After further review, there is no targeting on the play. However, the roughing the passer foul will still be enforced. 15 yards, automatic first down.
So no targeting.
Just to the naked eye, watching that play in real time, it didn't appear to be targeting, but they slow these plays down, Steve, and they got to take a look.
That's true, and I like the fact that they're, I think this year, kind of leaning towards the non-targeting call, because that young man loses the rest of this game, and it wasn't with great force. I really think that the penalty was the hit to the head, as you talked, and then he threw him to the ground is really the roughing the passer came from. Let's see if the Wildcats get aggressive here with 1 minute and 2.
Ball's on the 16-yard line on first down as a penalty marker is down again.
Is that going to be holding, or it's back there where Watkins is?
Under a minute left in the first half.
Watkins isn't backing up, so did he take another hit? Yeah, it looks like they're marching this one. Why don't I just wait?
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 34. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run, automatic, first down.
So that's 2 in a row. See 34 coming in and just, he launches himself at the quarterback late. It's a good call by the officials.
That's Henry Daniel, the excellent defensive end, who has 4 sacks to pace the defensive line.
The Wildcats have an ample opportunity now, plenty of time and 3 timeouts to get themselves in at least in the field goal range. Give Getman an opportunity to make this a 2-score game.
The previous play is under further review for potential targeting.
So, Steve, he jumped into the air, which is your launch.
Yep.
I think that's why they're taking a look at it here. And I was wondering what made it so different than the previous hit.
Yeah, the only one, I think the previous hit, I think he hit him with his hands first. With this one, I think it's the face mask to face mask first.
Or the launch, as they say, when you jump into the air against the defensive.
So how often do you, 2 plays in a row and 2 stops from the booth upstairs to look at targeting here.
And Steve, I like what you said earlier that they're calling seemingly less targeting fouls this year.
And I'm not sure. We'll get a look at this. When I first saw it, I agree with the late hit call and the helmet contact, but I'm not sure it was targeting. When I first saw it, I didn't say, "Oh, well, that looks like targeting." But let's see what the officials think. They're the ones that matter.
See, a little bit of a launch there,
and he lowers the head. That one might be more of a case for this one than the last play.
I think it's the jumping act right there.
And then you lower with the helmet,
which doesn't seem to be that egregious by any means.
This one doesn't take quite as long, or actually take that back. He's back looking at it. So
Alex Perella, the official. Villanova's been in a lot of tight games this year in terms of 1-score wins. Villanova's won 4 ball games this year. Mark Ferrante's 17-12 in single-digit games, so they've learned to win the close games this year. Another look at it, Steve.
I think that's targeting. By looking at that, he jumps, lowers his helmet, and makes helmet-to-helmet contact with the quarterback. Yeah, I think that's targeting.
With his shoulder or with his helmet?
I think he hits him with the helmet, with the crown of the helmet. But I've gotten just about all of these wrong this year, so let's see if I keep up my record of being wrong.
You're due to get one right, Steve?
Man, law of averages guy, we'll see, but I do think this is targeting.
After further review, there is no foul for targeting. However, the 15-yard penalty for roughing the passer will still be enforced. First down.
I actually like that call. I don't want it to be targeting. I thought it was, but I'd rather have the player be able to stay in the game.
Yeah, I just don't know if that's enough. I see more shoulder.
I agree. I don't want the guy ejected for that. But by definition of the rule, I'm not so sure it isn't, but I'm glad he wasn't thrown out of the game.
And I'm glad they look at them. There's just not enough indicators for me on either one of them to be targeting, and I think the officials got them right. But 2 15-yard plays back-to-back on roughing the passer calls means it's 1st and 10 from the 36. Is there enough time left with 45 seconds left? Walk-ins to the air. Isaiah Ragland's been a factor today.
He's going to get up to the 48 and get a first down and get out of bounds to save the timeout.
Well, Steve, after Villanova was trailing last year at A&T, they went on a 24-0 run the rest of the game.
Yeah, well, Nick, this drive, you come away with points when you're Villanova. You were third and 11 and threw an incompletion, and now you have an opportunity maybe to get in a field goal range.
And remember, 2 late touchdowns right before halftime last year when these teams played. That was the turning point for Villanova when these teams met a year ago. Walk-ins on first down again, caught and out of bounds.
So Kopecky gets it to the 46, so short gain there. Give him, no, not really a short gain. Give him 5 or 6.
Lucas Kopecky, formerly a face-off man for the Villanova lacrosse team that plays here at Villanova Stadium. He walked onto the football team this year for Mark Ferranti, and he's become a big play wide receiver.
Yeah, he really has done a great job in his first year playing football at Villanova. Hasn't played since high school.
They'll say 2nd and 4 for Connor Watkins, the 6th-year quarterback, going up top. There's Lucas Kopecky, and a flag is down.
Now let's see whose this pass interference is going to be. It's going to be offensive pass interference. They're going to call it a push-off on Kopecky.
Aaron Harris had the coverage, the 6th-year corner.
Pass interference, defense, number 16. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. 2nd down.
It's going to be offensive pass interference on number 16.
Correction was on the offense.
What do you think, Steve?
Much like the targeting, he's got his hands extended. I'm not sure how much contact is there, but with the hands extended, the officials saw it. I think that more often than not, that does not get called. But he does extend the arms into the chest of the defender, so they're going to that one they called. Big play, obviously. Wildcats lose 15 yards, and really now with only 29 seconds left, can they get themselves back into field goal range?
So 2 15-yard fouls push it one way. Now a 15-yard call the other direction, which makes it 3rd and 19 for the Villanova offense.
I think they're going to repeat 2nd down because of the penalty, so they'll have 2 chances to.
It's dropped by Isaiah Ragland.
So now it's going to be 3rd and a bunch. And once again, the Wildcat drive has stalled. Let's see if they can pull something out of their hat here on 3rd and long.
21 seconds left. You see that Villanova has all 3 of its timeouts left. Maybe taking one more shot, possibly. As Steve said, Villanova will get the ball to start the 2nd half. The Wildcats with a 7-2 record. They've won 2 straight ball games and 13 straight home wins here at Villanova Stadium. They toss it in the backfield to Devin Smith, the wide receiver. But A&T is all over it. Craig Featherstone, the safety, having a wonderful game.
That might be their last play of the first half. A&T is going to take a timeout here with 4 seconds to go.
So they will make Villanova punt the football.
Or what you could do is run around and throw in Hail Mary if you want.
2nd of the half.
You could use up all 4 seconds.
Possibly.
Yeah, that's just too far. That's going to be a 65-yard throw for Watkins to get that thing to the end zone. So you could just have him run around and run out the clock.
It's definitely worth it if you're Vincent Brown. Maybe get a punt return.
Operator, please put 8 seconds back on the game.
All right, well now that changes your whole scenario. With 8 seconds, you have to punt the football.
Especially the way Aaron Harris has been returning kicks this year. Unless they go with a low line drive type of punt, Steve.
Yeah, I'm punting the ball out of bounds when I'm punting the ball. Yeah, I'm not going to give him a chance to get his hands on it. I would just kick the ball out of bounds.
So Ethan Getman, terrific All-American season 2 years ago at Bryant. Won the Fred Mitchell Award 2 seasons back for the top kicker in all of FCS. With 8 seconds left before the half, Getman will punt it high up into the air, but there'll be no returner. Now there will be by A&T, as you see that.
In moments of vulnerability, it's only human to seek warmth and expertise. Mainline Health is the place where both your health and humanity matter, where ultrasounds come with understanding, where tests are met with tenderness, where EKGs are as important as empathy, the place where you will never be your only advocate, the place for a lifetime of care delivered neighbor to neighbor. Mainline Health, where human care has a home.
Home is for making dreams come true, for making memories that will last, for forging lifelong friendships, for watching your loved ones grow. The time is now to find the freedom that comes with pre-qualifying for a new home, or refinance in minutes and unlock the freedom to do the exciting things you've always wanted to do. Whichever path you choose, you can achieve your goals and celebrate the freedom of home ownership with Freedom Mortgage. Start making your dreams a reality at freedommortgage.com/dreams.
Halftime at Villanova Stadium. The Wildcats have not lost here in 2 years, but it's just a narrow 10-3 lead here at the break as we welcome you into the booth. Nick Montaigne, Steve Fanone, our great crew. It's been a tight ball game so far, Steve, as A&T has made enough plays defensively, and Villanova has moved the ball somewhat.
Yeah, it's been similar to what Villanova's been all year offensively. Make some plays, but just not enough consistency. A penalty here and there, a drop here and there, with a short run that doesn't get to the yard to gain. So just the consistency on Villanova's offense has been kind of inconsistent all year long. We've seen more of that here in the first half.
We've seen some of the running game as we'll check out the first half highlights, and a little bit in the passing game, certainly for Connor Watkins and the entire offense for Villanova, but trying to get the ground game going. You saw that A&T had some fight, certainly, on defense, as we've seen a pretty close ball game so far.
Yeah, no doubt about it here. A good pass out there. That was, trying to see who that was. I can't see the number, but Wildcats made some plays. That was Colby in the passing game there. And this is a really nice play by Sanchez as he takes the hit on it about the 4 and then gets it all the way into the end zone. He'll have one he wanted back at the other end of the field where he could have had a second touchdown, which just went off his fingertips.
You could say it's been a pretty clean pocket for Connor Watkins today. The one time he took a hit, he threw a touchdown pass.
Yeah. And they did have the one sack on the one drive that put him out of field goal range, but the offensive line's done a pretty good job.
Excellent holes today for David Abbott and company, as they've been able to establish enough of the run game, but some penalties for both sides, and we've seen the defenses making up plays.
So that set up a 1st and goal. The Wildcats were unable to convert. Here's a nice pass, the little back shoulder throw to Smith. That got the Wildcats down inside the 40.
So a couple big plays here or there, but then finally we saw A&T, they switched quarterbacks to Justin Fomby, and that started to give them some momentum to get their field goal. And here are some of our top Wildcats in the first half.
And it's nice to see 2 wide receivers up there. That doesn't happen that much for Villanova. You see Sanchez and Smith, and then Brendan Bell, that's what he does. He makes tackles, and 2 for a loss today.
So Villanova's been able to run the football with David Abbott and a number of others. 179 yards of total offense for Villanova compared to just 80 for A&T as we take a look at our halftime stats, Steve.
Yeah, you look at the numbers, you probably think the Wildcats should be up more than 1 score there. You see, really 12 first downs to 4. The penalties have hurt both teams. The penalty yards 50 for Villanova. That's just been it's kind of been a nagging, consistent thing all year long. The false starts, the personal foul on Waxter kind of helped their drive along to get them their 3 points. But the Wildcat defense has been solid all year long, and they were pretty solid here in that first half, holding A&T to only 80 yards.
But you see the rushing yards have been even after 1 half of play. So we'll see what the second half brings us as we have a good one here in CAA football. Back in a bit here from Villanova Stadium.
The other day, you told me, some of the goals of the Office for Veterans and Military Services is to get military-connected people to think about Villanova to pursue an educational goal. Why is that initiative so important?
Well, I think what veterans and military-connected students bring to the campus community is huge, really. But specifically, what a veteran brings to the classroom is, I think, a dynamic conversation, leadership, and life experience. So when you think about a traditional student who may be 18, 19, 20 years old in a political science class, and then you put a 28-year-old student veteran in that classroom, the types of conversations that are had and the life experiences mixed in with the relevant coursework, I think really adds a dynamic classroom experience. And I think it's really beneficial for the faculty member, for the traditional student, and frankly for the student veteran to really gain a more well-rounded educational learning environment.
And what does that process look like right now of getting military-connected people to come to Villanova?
A lot of it's just about education, just telling veterans out there in the world that Villanova is an opportunity, it's accessible, and then talking about what some of the learning outcomes and opportunities here at Villanova are. So it's partly just reaching out to both local and regional and national veterans who might be interested in using their GI Bill benefits and talking about all the things that Villanova can provide for them and the opportunities that exist here.
There's a lot of impactful stories from past student athletes who are at Villanova who've served and given their lives. One in particular, Mike Baska, who's on the football team here. Why is sharing his story so important?
Well, I think when you look at Villanova, I think we have a service, a legacy of service, and part of that is serving in the community. Part of that is serving here on campus with other students. An example of that was just Fall Fest with Special Olympics. And really, as part of our military connection, we have a legacy of service and putting people out into the world through our ROTC programs. Some examples of that are Mike Baska, who came here in the late 30s and early 40s and played football, was a star athlete, was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles and played for a season. And during, I think it was his 5th game, it was December 7th of 1941. They were playing the Washington Redskins at the time, the Commanders now. And that's the day Pearl Harbor happened. And they announced it over the loudspeakers that Japan had just attacked America. And he walked off the football field after that game, retired from football, and joined the United States Army. And for a long time, homecoming weekend here at Villanova was called Nick Baska weekend. His name was Mike Baska, but he had a nickname of Nick. Local kid, born and raised in Phoenixville, came to Villanova, drafted by the Eagles, and then went off and served his country. I just think it's such a Villanova story and something that I believe is worth telling. His name is at the Professional Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, and I'm really happy to see that his name is now back here at Villanova University, because it's something that I think as an institution we should really be proud of, these sorts of stories.
And what do you hope Villanova students take away when they learn his story?
The one thing I hope that they take away is that by serving in the military, it's part of being something that's bigger than yourself. It allows for someone to feel like they are a part of something, but also provides purpose and meaning to one's life. And I believe that what I hope they learn is that not just the story about Mike Baska, but broadly across our history, we have produced men and women who have gone off to serve their country and done really meaningful things, whether they have died on the battlefield or served to become an admiral or served for 4 years and got out and done something else. I think service is a part of our Villanova story, and it's part of these student stories.
Now, Veterans Day is on Monday. What does that day mean to you?
Veterans Day, I think, is a way to celebrate the lives of veterans all across this country. And so a lot of people sometimes get mixed up with Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Memorial Day is a more somber day. I think Veterans Day is a more celebration. So I hope that people out in the world can find a veteran, can say thank you to a veteran, but really can get to know a veteran and can hear their stories, because I think that's really what can help break down some of the barriers that are out there with the civilian and military divide of we don't have a lot of attachment to veterans as people anymore. There's only around 7% of the population today in our country has served, where back in as late as 1980, it was close to 25%. So, when that separation continues, I hope Veterans Day is just an opportunity for people to get to know more veterans and hear their stories.
What does Villanova have going on for Veterans Day this year?
On Veterans Day every year, we get together as a big group, as a community, and this year we are having brunch in Doherty Hall at around 9:30. After that brunch, approximately 11 o'clock, we'll go out as a large group and we'll plant around 1,000 flags in the shape of a V out on Mendel Field, and that's really a cool, impactful way to just raise some awareness that there are veterans walking around the campus community. And then at 12, Father Peter leads us in a Mass at the Big Chapel, which is always, again, a great way to honor, but more importantly, celebrate the lives of veterans all across this country, and specifically here at Villanova.
And then how do you get veterans maybe in the community or the Villanova community specifically involved?
I think it's providing that why. And for me, it's a combination of providing some community building with some fun. So going to a football game is an example of that. We can get together, we can maybe break some bread and have a beer or two, and then watch the football game beat their opponent out on the field on a Saturday. So that's really a great way to build, grow and sustain that community over time, is provide some meaning, but really just have some fun while we're doing it, and I think it's a good recipe for success.
And what are some things you hope to see for your office, grow in the future?
Well, we have a Veterans Center. Now we have a physical space on campus, which is really a great home base for our student veterans. But I always want to see our student veteran population continue to grow as we move forward. The office is fairly new here on campus, and over the last 5 years, we've seen tremendous growth of this population across campus at the law school, in the grad programs, and at the undergraduate level. And we hope to see that continue to grow as we move forward.
And for those maybe wanting to volunteer or get involved, where could they find more information?
Well, we do have a great website, but my office is located in Vasey Hall on the ground level, and I hope that people, whether you're connected to the military or not, will stop by, say hello. Coach Ferrante has stopped by a couple of times, and so anyone can stop by, say hello, meet our students. I think that's a great way to sort of take the abstract of Veterans Day and turn it into a reality of actually meeting and talking to veterans. Is just a great way to thank a veteran for their service, but really get to know that person from a human level.
Well, thank you.
We're live on the Villanova Sports Network. The start of the second half as we're at Villanova Stadium, where Villanova has won 13 straight consecutive ball games, ranked number 12 in the country. A 10-3 lead for the home team. Steve Pannone, Vic Montaigne, and Tessa Peloso down on the field. Let's check in with Tessa.
Thanks, Nick. I caught up with Mark Ferrante heading into the half, and I asked him, Coach, how do you get your offense going in the second half? And he says, honestly, it's about eliminating the negative yardage plays and penalties. In this first quarter, we had the ball moving. Then it was the loss of yardage and the sack. Before the half, he said North Carolina AT&T had those 2 personal fouls, which got us out of the hole. But it was another loss of yardage for us. We wanted to get another field goal to put it on the board going into the half, and it just set us back. So ultimately, it's eliminating those penalties and negative yardage plays, guys.
And Tessa, it's been a tremendous second half defense for Villanova this year. Look what they did at Hampton last weekend. They did not allow Hampton any points in the fourth quarter. 2 weeks ago at home against New Hampshire, Villanova did quite well in the second half.
Yeah, just a 3, I think, in the fourth quarter as well. So, and I think, Nick, for the Villanova offense, they did a good job last week coming out of the gate. They got 10 points in their first 2 possessions in the second half against Hampton. They'd love to do that here. If they could put a drive together here to start this half and get some points, and just, as Mark Ferrante mentioned to Tessa, just eliminate the penalties and the negative plays. It was, that drive was going. They have the offensive pass interference that sets them back. Then the Watkins gets sacked, and it just this offense is not consistent enough to overcome those mistakes that they've made. And unfortunately, they got to stay ahead of the stick, so to speak, and put points on the board and continue to gain momentum throughout this second half.
The Aggies did not score a single point in the second half against Villanova last year, as the Wildcats went to the quarterfinals, won 10 ball games, won a share of the CAA title as they aim for their 3rd conference crown over the last 4 years. The Wildcats deferred the opening kickoff, so they'll get the ball to start the second half. North Carolina A&T is just 1-8. They've yet to win a game against the CAA since joining the league at the start of last year, as the third quarter is underway. As Villanova is looking for good starting field position, as they'll get it up to the 30.
Good run by Ethan Potter there. Just get north and south, get it upfield. So, as you mentioned, pretty good starting field position at the 30. And let's see if Chris Bowden's offense can make some adjustments there at halftime and put a drive together and get some points on the board.
Ethan Potter, the safety, will bring it officially to the 30-yard line, where Villanova's playing with a newer look offensive line this year, plus some new weapons, although Jalen Sanchez is coming off a big season for Villanova when he had 3 100-yard receiving games a year ago and led the nation in yards per catch, over 25 a pop. They've been dangerous through the air through the seasons, and here's another big play for Connor Watkins. He has a lot of big plays in his career as Devin Smith moves up to midfield.
That was really well designed and well blocked to get the first down. Smith breaks a tackle, gets it out almost to the 50-yard line, up at the 48. You'll see it here. Smith in motion. They come inside, they get him here. Now watch the block by Sanchez right there, picking off that defensive back, and that frees Smith down the left sideline.
He blocked 2 players essentially. They work it up to the 48-yard line. A great way to get the second half started. Watkins again finding Devin Smith close to midfield.
That job, a much better job by the A&T defensive backs. That was Caldwell on the stop. No, I'm sorry. Yeah,
that's Karan Prunty, the corner.
Yeah, Prunty, the corner. Caldwell wears 1 on the offense.
Prunty all CAA last year. Aeneas Williams watch list for the best defensive back amongst historically black colleges. Started his career at Kansas in the 2020 season, where he was an all Big 12 pick and a freshman All-American, as he had 4 picks 2 seasons ago. So the strength is in the defensive backfield. The pitch for Villanova, and they work it in the plus territory.
Yeah, get it out to Jabril Mason. You see what they talked about at halftime. Let's get out wide. That's what they want to do. They want to attack this defense at the edge, and that time it's Jabril Mace picking up a big first down. They went to Smith twice out wide, and this time it's Mace.
Steve, Villanova has used plays on the edge quite well today, haven't they?
They really have. I think they haven't had much success between the tackles. A couple of runs by Abbott, but most of their big plays have been on the edge.
Devin Smith and Lucas Kopecki to the bottom of your screen. Jalen Sanchez wearing number 5 this season. Watkins looking to throw, rolls out. It's complete and caught by Jalen Sanchez.
Looks like he'll pick it. They're marking him all the way back at the 32. Ran out of bounds at the 30. Coach Ferrani's saying the same thing. I can't believe what I just saw.
So 2nd and 7. He should have stayed in bounds, Steve?
No, he did go out of bounds at the 30. The referee just mismarked the ball. And Coach Ferrani was down there talking to the same thing I saw. I saw him go out at the 30. And Mark Ferrani's point, he still can't believe that he marked him back at the 32.
So they lose a couple more than they should have had, according to Steve and Coach Ferranti. They'll try and get this back, but A&T's defense has come to play today.
Yeah, they have not had much success with that kind of just that straight dive play into the line. Now it brings up a big 3rd down.
Cade Muldar, the linebacker, and Javon Armstrong-Grady, the defensive end. Those two have made several plays today. Plus Greg Featherstone, the safety, has been active.
And there's probably 4 down territory for him here. That's a 50-yard field goal.
7 tackles for Cade Muldar. Their excellent middle linebacker, Devin Smith, is in space, but he's corralled.
Yeah, that play
and held down.
Yeah, they read that one, and I think it's going to be 4th and 8 here, and I think you'll go for it from this spot on the field. So credit the A&T defense coming up with a couple of big plays here.
Darius Glover, the defensive end, read it well. 4th down for Villanova from the 33-yard line, as they'll say it's 4th and 8.
That play even lost a yard. Let's see if they can find something here to convert this all-important 4th down and pick up some points on this drive.
As they tried it with David Abbott, who's in the backfield, as Villanova on 4th down, their first attempt on 4th today. Connor Watkins under pressure. He's rolling out. He's floating it downfield, and it's caught complete as David Abbott has Villanova with a 1st down.
That's a huge play. Credit Connor Watkins. There's the pocket's kind of collapsing. He rolls out to his right, but keeps his eyes downfield. Watch him here. See the packet collapse and gets away, and then he sees Abbott. Good adjustment by Abbott to get behind the linebacker. Catch it and get upfield. Good job by Watkins and by the young freshman Abbott. You see your quarterback scrambling, get to an open area, and he gave Watkins somewhere to throw the football.
On the ground this year, David Abbott had the big game against Stony Brook with 4 rushing touchdowns. That's only his 3rd catch of the season. Watkins is throwing on 1st down, and it's incomplete.
A good decision by Watkins there, just throw it away. He wanted to go short to, I think it was to Ragland. He was covered, and he ends up just throwing it away.
So what does it say about a 6th-year quarterback and Connor Watkins, who knows how to make plays under pressure?
Injured player.
Well, that's what you really want to do. Is what comes with experience is better decision making. You've seen that all year from Connor Watkins. One of the A&T players down by the pylon in the corner of the end zone there.
Connor Watkins, the 6th-year quarterback at Williamsport, PA, is 16 for 22 through the air for 160 yards and a touchdown.
I think that's Aaron Harris, the cornerback.
Will step away as an injured player is down for the Aggies, as Malik Jacobs, the linebacker, is being looked at as Villanova has a 7-point lead. was Villanova's 5th completion on a 4th down play this season, and a big one it was to David Abbott for a 21-yard completion as Malik Jacobs was eventually able to walk off the field.
Yeah, really important, Nick, for Villanova to come away with points this drive. They want to get this to a 2-score game.
This year in terms of red zone touchdowns, Villanova's 19 of 28 for 68%. It's 2nd and 10 as Villanova, and it's a touchdown for Connor Watkins, who took it himself.
Yeah, it was a design quarterback run. He dropped straight back, and then he saw the gap, and it's like just, as I mentioned, a design quarterback run, a draw play, and a good finish by Watkins.
His 4th rushing touchdown of the season as he lowers the shoulder and the boom.
You see, it's a design run the whole way, and then he gets to lower the shoulder right there at about the 1 and finishes off the run. A really good drive from Connor Watkins and the Villanova offense. It's just what they needed to start the half.
The 23rd career rushing touchdown.
Play call by Chris Bowden there. They hadn't run that in a long time. That straight quarterback draw. And they hit him right with a good spot and right at the right time. They'd spread the defense out, and they took the people out of the middle of the field, and Watkins is able to finish it off.
A 9-play, 70-yard drive as Connor Watkins has the legs. As Vincent Brown speaking with him this week, he talked about Connor Watkins' decision-making, avoiding negative plays, and using his feet, and certainly it was another big play for Connor Watkins.
You see Abbott good enough field. It's a design run. He with a good block by the young freshman as well. As he comes right up there, his job is to knock out that linebacker who's there or the safety, and a good job by having a good read by Watkins to play off that block.
That's on tape a lot, but it almost froze the defense.
Yeah, and they've done a good job of spreading out the defense by running all these plays wide. So now you space your linebackers out a little bit more, and then you got a gap to run through. And good call by Chris Bowden and a good execution by that Villanova offense.
The biggest lead of the day for Villanova. We'll see what A&T's offense has to say about it, as they started the game with Braxton Thomas, the freshman, but they've moved on to Justin Fomby, the 6th-year transfer from Houston Christian.
You might see more of him now with a 14-point deficit here in the second half. Now if you're Villanova's defense, I usually use the baseball now. You got to have a shutdown inning right here. You got to come back. Your offense just scored. Let's get a shutdown here and get the ball back to your offense. Give themselves a chance to spread this lead out even more.
The Dodgers won the World Series, Steve.
Why you got to bring that up, Nick? Why you got to do that?
I just had to say it one time. I haven't seen you in a while.
Were the Phillies in the World Series?
No, they missed out on it.
Okay. Hurtful, Nick. Very hurtful.
On 1st down, we'll see if they can throw it towards Los Angeles. They need to work the ball downfield. Shamik Blizzard makes a catch.
They'll get some yards on 1st down, so a good job. That's Braxton Thomas to get it out there and get something positive on 1st down.
So, Steve, why do you think they've switched quarterbacks again?
Yeah, I think they're just going to play both guys. That's probably what they have in mind. I would go with the young kid because he's going to be back next year. Your 6th-year quarterback isn't. I'd get him as much game experience as possible, especially when you come in at 1-7.
So Braxton Thomas will take off and run with it. He's into the secondary and eventually taken down into Villanova territory.
So big run by Thomas there. And I was looking for that shutdown inning, and it doesn't come. As A&T's now got the ball on Villanova's side of the field.
They played both quarterbacks last weekend. They used one, they brought in the other, they moved back to the other. They continued to switch it up. So this is really not a surprise.
Yeah, and then, it's tougher to practice for each week. You got to defend for 2 guys. There's a good job there. That was Kimmel in there to make a nice play, along with one of the Wildcat defensive linemen. I think that was Aiden Howard, 91.
So Braxton Thomas hits his first completion of the game, Steve, on the previous play. And then the keeper for 25 yards where Jalen Goodman made the stop.
Time out for an injured player.
Be Richie Kimmel down on one knee there.
5th-year linebacker. Had a good opening game against Youngstown State.
He had that big interception late that kind of salted the game away for Villanova.
The linebackers have been the strength of Villanova's defense this year.
It's like Jordan Nelson will come in and replace him.
Now Shane Hartzell has been awesome, number 31 with 84 tackles. Both he and Brendan Bell have been arguably your 2 best players all year long. It's 2nd and 8. The ball's on the 45-yard line. A&T's moving the football all of a sudden with Braxton Thomas, the rookie. He's under pressure, and he floats it incomplete.
Yeah, good credit to Villanova secondary. That's kind of it wasn't a sack, but that was all due to coverage. They had nowhere to go with the football, and finally Villanova got home a little bit and forced the errant throw.
It was intended for Javon Dillard, the wide receiver, number 5.
And Christian Sapp coming late on a safety blitz.
Ross Pennypacker doing a great job for the defense. The new offensive coordinator for A&T is David Marsh. He was the OC at Campbell when former Villanova quarterback Daniel Smith was playing for the Camels. And you know, they put up big numbers there. And of course, Daniel Smith had a prolific career as the quarterback here at Villanova. It's 3rd and 8 for the Aggies. They're throwing it downfield to the air, and it is caught by Jakari Caldwell.
That ball is going to hit the ground, Nick. I think they're going to rule it incomplete.
Caldwell thinks it's a catch, Steve.
The guy that counts is the official, and he says it hit the ground.
It was an incomplete pass.
Do you think they'll take a look at it?
I'm sure they will. Caldwell sold it pretty well. Well, now we'll take a chance and see.
The South Carolina transfer. He didn't play last week as Braxton Thomas going up. Waxter in coverage. I think he caught it, Steve.
We'll have to take a look. We'll see. It's hard to see where the ball is. I don't know how you're going to overturn this because you can't see when the ball comes down. That ball hit the ground. That's a good call. Yeah, that ball's incomplete.
I thought it hit his body and he held on to it.
I think it's incomplete. Yeah, here comes the punt team.
Oh, incomplete pass. It was a nice attempt, certainly.
Yeah, he had it in his hands and then it came down and it kind of landed in between his legs. I think if you see it here, it does hit the ground. There, and then he loses it there and then it hits the ground. And he kind of corrals it back up into his chest.
The ball can hit the ground as long as you control it, but they say no catch. I thought he sandwiched it between his legs. As the ball goes out of bounds on the punt by DJ Page, as Villanova leads by 2 scores. They've won a lot of close games this year, as we chronicled. 4 times this year, Villanova's won by a single score. Now they've extended their lead thanks to a good drive by Connor Watkins and the offense.
Yeah, Nick, you have an opportunity here now, 17-3, 8:13 to go in the third quarter, to kind of really put this game out of reach. You put another one in the end zone here. The way A&T's offense has played all day and all year, they're going to have a hard time coming back from 24-3.
That's Villanova's defense making enough plays. They rank in the top 25 in 7 different defensive categories this season, and they've allowed just 3 total points in the fourth quarter this season. Connor Watkins on the ground.
So back-to-back quarterback runs for Watkins. He picks up 5 on first down to bring up second down and 5. Haven't seen as much of that in the last 3 or 4 weeks from Watkins, and this is a good time. It's November football. It's playoff push time. You got to find everything in the toolbox to get it out there, and a good run by Watkins.
Henry Daniel, the defensive end, drug him down. You have to credit the A&T defense. They put up a really good fight today, but Villanova got them on that last drive. As a gain of 5 for the 6th-year quarterback, Connor Watkins, who's been a true dual threat throughout his entire career. A new offensive line. We've seen some push in the run game today.
Yeah, good job by Abbott there. He was contacted behind the line of scrimmage and still picks up 3 yards, bring up 3rd and 2. So a big down here for Villanova. If anything, pick up a first down, run some clock. Chew up 2 or 3 more minutes, give your defense a little bit more time of rest on the sideline.
David Abbott, the impactful freshman running back.
See if you see quarterback run here again. Ragland in the backfield, who'll replace Abbott.
The Wildcats are 4 for 9 on 3rd down today. Just 36% entering today. Trying to improve on that number. New offensive line look this year for Connor Watkins, the veteran quarterback, on the ground. They have the first down and then some. Isaiah Ragland, off he goes.
He blew a tire out at about the 17-yard line, but what a run by Isaiah Ragland. And credit the guys up front. Picard at the center spot. McCullers in there at one guard as well, did a nice job. And he broke that one big, Nick.
Plenty of running room for the redshirt freshman from Virginia. Another peek at it.
Good job by Picard there. So there's Voltaire 75 cleaning his man out. And then Ragland makes the first guy miss. And he looks like he just ran out of gas here. He tried to make a cut and just lost his footing.
Stephen Davis, the cornerback, tried to tackle him in open space, but a little juke move by the excellent running back. It's a gain of 55 yards and a first down, as the ball will be at the 17-yard line for Villanova. Again, Villanova with running room.
Yeah, it's Jabril Mace getting it down about the 10-yard line.
A&T says it's a fumble.
And they're saying the official coming in from the far side saying he's down. I can see him pointing to the ground. There might be a flag down as well.
We'll check the marker. Coach Ferrante wants to know.
Going to be against A&T.
Illegal substitution. Defense. 12-minute formation. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So each team has had a too many men on the field call today.
The Wildcats will take the 5-yard penalty and make it 1st and 5. Here's the run by Ragland, by Mace. You see the flag coming in on the left-hand side.
So suddenly big holes in the run game. The official said he was down.
It wouldn't have mattered anyhow with the penalty, so no need to review it.
Jabril Mace in the backfield. Jalen Sanchez in motion at the bottom of your screen. Watkins under pressure, and it's incomplete. Intended for Nolan Clayton, the tight end.
As Nick mentioned, that pressure forced a low throw to Clayton. But good job by the A&T defenders there to get upfield, force the errant throw.
New tight ends this year as well for Villanova.
The Wildcats lost Antonio Johnson in the spring season. He's out for the whole year. Nolan Clayton's filled in admirably. Redshirt freshman from Upper Marion.
It was just a more experienced offense last year for Villanova. But you have a 6th-year quarterback who's directing traffic, avoiding negative plays, as Watkins knew what to do. Get rid of the football. Even in a pickle, another keeper. Connor Watkins runs for another touchdown.
And Nick, you talked about the decision making there. The decision is to pull it out of the gut of the running back and keep it, see that open side of the field, and walk in untouched in the end zone for a Wildcat touchdown.
He's got major wheels. The preseason CAA Offensive Player of the Year. Certainly we know he can throw the football. Last year he had 10 running touchdowns. And he does it again. Point after. Carolina A&T, as we'll step away. Villanova with an excellent start to the 3rd quarter. Thanks to Connor Watkins.
At Mainline Health, we make sure that heart care is heartfelt. From murmurs to heart valve disease, we listen, we treat, we innovate. It's where your health is held alongside your humanity, where cutting-edge clinical trials meet compassion, with expertise ranging from preventive to pioneering. Because human care listens to your heartbeat and who it beats for. So if the rhythm of life changes, turn to the place where world-class isn't just nearby. It's where human care has a home.
When planning your next step, Villanova University's College of Professional Studies meets you where you are. Whether your journey leads to a long-awaited degree, enables you to change careers, or accelerates your current one, we have rigorous online and on-campus programs designed to align your experience with your aspirations. When everything you've been ignites everything you'll be, transformation has no age limit. Pursue the next you.
Connor Watkins taking it into the end zone again. Let's check in with Tessa Peloso.
Before linebacker Richie came off the field, he was limping a little bit, went into the blue medical tent, was in there for about 4 or 5 minutes and came out, and he was walking perfectly fine. So he is expected to get back out on the field today. Nick?
Steve, Villanova's linebackers are just having a dynamite season, aren't they?
Yeah, Kimmel has been dealing with a bit of a shoulder injury, so if that's a lower body injury, dealing with a little something new, but hopefully, as Tessa said, hopefully he'll get back out there as the Wildcats are going out on the field on defense after this kick. And that's, Villanova's defense has been its staple all year long. The offense here, back-to-back touchdown drive. It's been a long time since the Wildcats have been able to say that, but the offense may be finding its groove here a little bit. And most of that, Nick, through the quarterback run of Connor Watkins.
It's such a game changer. Vincent Brown talked to us on the phone about it this week, about the decision making. We harp on that, and you get that from a sixth-year quarterback. No return here for the Aggies.
Kevin again able to get one into the end zone for a touchback.
Steve, A&T's been in a lot of games this year, but some games have gotten away from them as well.
Yeah, and that's the point of this game where they're at right now. They need to put a drive together. Down 21 here, 5:05 to go in the third quarter. They can't afford to go 3 and out and just give the ball back to Villanova here. They got to, kind of try and get some first downs, grind this out a little bit, and see what they can come up with. Looks like they're going to go with Braxton Thomas here again in this series.
A terrific offensive line. It's the strength of the team. They've gotten some push today. Villanova's running for 164 today. It's 88 yards on the ground. They were able to effectively run the football against William & Mary. They don't give up on it as they try it again on first down.
That's a good 5-yard pickup there.
Tracked down by Brendan Bell.
Is that Coles back in and running back 22? Yep. Daniel Coles, the freshman running back out of Stafford, Virginia.
We've seen a lot of Shamik Blizzard. We've seen Braxton Thomas and Justin Fomby. The play fake, and it was read well. This time it's a catch by Jerkari Caldwell.
Yeah, well executed. I thought Villanova was going to knock that one down, but they couldn't make. They looked like they were going to make a play on it. I think it was Caleb Moody. Look here. See Caleb Moody coming off the edge. I thought he was going to get a piece of that, and then Goodman's in there, and he misses it. And it's well executed play and a first down for the Aggies.
A 6'4", 195 pounds out of Rock Hill, South Carolina. He was a top 100 wide receiver recruit, and he lines up to the bottom of the screen here. Did not play against William & Mary last weekend. You saw Jerkari Caldwell in motion.
Yeah, that's not even allowed in Canada what they just did there. They had 3 guys in motion running towards the line of scrimmage.
I thought they were allowed to do that in Canada,
well,
Steve.
You can't go 5 yards downfield, though. You can run behind about 10 yards from behind the line of scrimmage. They don't let you run 5 yards down the field and then snap it. So obviously a snap count issue there. There's 3 guys moving before the ball was snapped.
Now, it reminds me a lot of what Matt Canada did when he was the offensive coordinator at Pitt and briefly the head coach at Maryland. A lot of window dressing, a lot of players in motion and changing pre-snap. I'm sure they drew it up different in practice, Steve.
I'm sure they did.
It's a loss of 5. First down for the Aggies, throwing on the run, and it's broken up by Villanova.
Yeah, I think that's Brendan Bell who got a piece of it. They kind of flooded that zone. There was 4 or 5 Wildcats over there with 2 or 3 of the receivers of the Aggies, and Bell's able to get a piece of it.
Both Shane Hartzell and Brendan Bell were out in coverage as they read it well, Steve.
Yeah. It wasn't Bell. It was Mims that got a piece of it. And Mims says, I should have caught that.
Mims played safety previously. He's made the shift to cornerback this year and having an excellent season. And Brendan Bell's been in a backfield near you almost every single game this season, right, Steve?
He certainly has. Here he comes again.
Second down, pressure coming. It's read well by Braxton Thomas, who has open space as he cuts past midfield.
It's a good play by Christian Sapp. He'll be short of the first down marker, so that'll bring up a 3rd and short.
Braxton Thomas, the rookie quarterback.
And Shane Hartzell just missed him there on the blitz. Bell trying to track him down, can't get him. And then Christian Sapp does a good job to get him down.
Just the 3rd collegiate game for the freshman quarterback out of Sarasota, Florida. He missed it by a yard, so it's a long 3rd and 1 for A&T. As Villanova shows some pressure at the line. And nowhere to go. It's eaten up by Obinna Nwobodo.
Obinna coming off his nose, and Nwobodo does a great job of getting into the backfield. Villanova on short yardage has been so good this year. So now it's going to be 4th and 4, and I think, look at this, just beat your man off the ball and then just stop the runner and wait till your friends get there to help you. So good job by Nwobodo up front.
Will Vincent Brown keep the offense on the field?
It looks like he will here right at midfield.
Villanova will substitute. Laquan Vini and Javon Dillard to the top of the formation as Villanova gets set here. Quarterback keeper on 4th and 4, and he doesn't have it.
The one guy you're not going to run away from is Shane Hartzell. He's going to get his arms around you, and you're going to the ground. That's the kind of tackler he is. He does a great read, and he makes a great play on 4th down to force the turnover on downs.
Shane Hartzell had a career-high 20 tackles in the win over New Hampshire, and there he is again.
Just watch his read. He had the running back. He sees the ball's not handed off, and right away he reacts to the QB run. And once he gets his arms around you, you're not going to escape that. He's going to get you down. He's as good a tackler they've had here since Forrest Ryan in terms of once he gets his arms on you, you're not going anywhere but to the ground.
So Villanova had some quarterback keepers that turned into touchdowns. That one did not work. Decent play call, but Villanova read it well. So it's 1st down, and Connor Watkins throws it up into the air.
Yeah, he kind of airmailed that throw. He had Lopes. Lopes kind of stopped. So maybe a little bit of miscommunication, just maybe a misthrow by Watkins. That thing sailed on him a little bit.
The Wildcats went pretty quick there, maybe to catch A&T napping.
Yeah, I think that was the idea. It did not work. You just see, I think Connor just airmails this one. That one just sailed on him.
Illegal substitution, defense, 12-men in formation.
Oh, maybe that's why he snapped the ball quickly. He saw a player running off the field.
Yeah, good job. Maybe good read by Watkins again. Pick up the easy free 5 yards to bring up 1st and 5.
Steve, those are the intangibles that Watkins brings, right?
Yeah, you talk about that. He's seeing something out there. Hey, they got too many guys out there.
And he snapped the ball quickly. A real smart decision.
So that's the second time in the last 6 or 7 plays that A&T's had too many men on the field.
And now another stoppage. The clock issue, Steve?
I'm not sure. I've been guessing all day, and I haven't gotten one right, so I'll wait and figure this one out after the referee tells me.
Steve, you're bound to get one right.
Maybe a clock issue, Nick? Is that what you told me?
Mark Ferrante is out on the field.
It shouldn't take this long. The back judge is walking his way towards the referee.
And the officials will gather.
My guess is that they calling the 12 men on the field. It's probably a clock issue that they ran the clock when they shouldn't have.
Previous play is under further review.
On the illegal substitution, Steve?
I guess they're counting to 11 or 12.
But they snapped the ball.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they got here.
So it was on this play.
He said the previous play was under review.
The previous play.
Yeah, because they never really ran this play, which is second.
But they snapped the ball.
Yes, that was the previous play. The one where they Watkins threw the ball over the head of the receiver and they called 12 men on the field. That would be your previous play.
So they will take a look at it to see if he got off field in time.
I guess, it's not for targeting because they told us when they were looking at targeting in the first half. So maybe they have a freeze frame where they can count how many players are on the field.
Late stages of the 3rd quarter. Villanova won their 8th conference title a season ago. They've been dynamite this decade. 7 conference wins last year. Mark Ferrante and his staff doing a terrific job. Lost at South Dakota State in the quarterfinals as the Jackrabbits won their 2nd straight national title a season ago.
It looks like the referee's done looking under the hood, as they say. Let's see what he's got for us.
After further review, ruling on the field stands. It was 12 men in formation on defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. A repeat 1st down.
All right, so the referee we know can count to 12 because he's counted all 12 guys out there. And Nick, I don't know if you're aware, you're only allowed 11 in football, but
I've heard, Steve.
They've tried a couple times to use 12.
So they say it stands. They didn't confirm the call, which means it might have been pretty close.
Yeah, I guess maybe he had 1 foot on the field instead of 2.
There we go. Thomas Beck, the replay official, says 12 men, big lead for Villanova. Watkins to the air, and it's incomplete as it was broken up by Aaron Harris, the cornerback, intended for Luke Daly.
Yeah, Daly had both hands on it. Probably one he wants to pull in, but credit the defensive back to knock it out. They teach you to get your hands in between his 2 hands to drive it out of the football. Really good throw by Watkins. This is nice to see here. It's a good, accurate throw. Daly, 2 hands on it, and then a good job there. He just couldn't pull it into his chest. as it was knocked away by Harris.
Timeout for an injured player.
And now Aaron Harris is down. Been heavily involved in a lot of plays today. Excellent in the return game.
But a nice accurate throw by Watkins.
One big return after another, including that pick six against Delaware for Aaron Harris. And the 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown on the opening play against North Carolina Central.
Nick, I have a chance to maybe give you some CAA scores that I come across here. Stony Brook leads Albany 10-6, getting ready to start the fourth quarter in Long Island. Maine with a big lead, 38-14 over Bryant, 4:09 to go in the third. The big game at the top of the standings, Delaware with a 24-14 lead over Rhode Island at the end of three quarters. There's some of the scores. Gabe listened to me, put them up. I was reading them off my phone. Towson 27-0 over Hampton, and William Marion Elon in a good one, 21-20.
So Rhode Island has won 7 in a row, their best since 1985. Richmond has won 7 in a row. The CAA had 4 playoff teams last year. They have 5 ranked teams. That's the most of any conference. You see Richmond will try to extend.
They're later tonight, 3:30 today, and some of the others, UNH 23, Monmouth, Villanova's next week opponent, 14.
And Derek Robertson, the quarterback for Monmouth, is leading the conference in passing yards. He's had a big year, Steve.
Yeah, he's been played very well. Monmouth's been a good offensive team. They've slowed down a little bit offensive the last couple of weeks, and it looks like that New Hampshire defense that we saw here a couple weeks ago has done a pretty good job of holding them to 14 here through almost 3 quarters.
Aaron Harris eventually works his way off field. Janaz Sumter, good backup corner, takes his spot. Now bouncing his way through the middle for Villanova is David Abbott.
What patience he showed there. There was nothing there when he initially hit that, and he let the hole create itself, and then he just shot through it with a big first down run. You don't see that from a freshman too often, just his patience and his ability to let the play develop. There was nothing there at the point of attack, and he does a good job of hitting the hole here. You'll see there's nothing there. It's all bottled up. Keep your neat legs moving, drive it through the middle of the grind, and up in field he goes.
David Abbott with a terrific run that time for 17 yards. He's run it 11 times for 54 yards as the Wildcats have 181 on the ground. A&T's now over 100 yards rushing. Connor Watkins off 1 foot and directs it in to the sideline as it's hauled in by Lucas Kopecky.
Good catch by Kopecky. He caught a fastball there as Watkins rolling to his right. Hit him right between the 1 and the 6 with a fastball, and a good grab by Kopecky.
The Wildcats graduated a lot of wide receivers, so bringing back Jalen Sanchez, very helpful for a guy like Connor Watkins and the offense. And the addition of Lucas Kopecky, the former lacrosse player here at Villanova. .13 seconds left in the third quarter as the Wildcats have it 2nd and 3. They've run the football very well today. It's their bread and butter as Isaiah Ragland is eventually taken to the turf.
He's going to have a first down. I thought his knee might have gone down, but maybe it was just his hand.
That is the end of the third quarter.
End of the third quarter as Connor Watkins runs for 2 touchdowns, which makes Villanova into a 24-3 lead as we'll head to the fourth quarter when we come back. Alumni Day at Villanova Stadium, and our own Tessa Peloso is down on the field with a couple of former Wildcats.
Nick, guys, thanks for taking the time to chat with us. How bittersweet is this being back here on the sideline watching your former team?
There's nothing better than being back here, honestly. I mean, just being around these guys in this atmosphere, you miss it a lot, and you got to cherish the moments when you're here, because when it's over, it's bittersweet to be back.
Yeah, it's an awesome experience being back as a fan. This is my first time coming back as an alumni, so it's awesome to see all the guys that you play with now at a different point of view on the sidelines. Yeah, it's just a cool experience.
Now, do you guys get nervous watching these guys, or are you just kind of more chill now that you're a fan?
As a fan, I think I get a little more nervous, but as a player, I was not as nervous. Because it's different, you know, there's new faces out here, and you want to make sure that, you know, you leave the program in a better place than you found it. But, I mean, all trust in these guys. I mean, what an incredible experience to just be out here, and, you know, seeing my number on someone new is just wild. Yeah, it's crazy, but I love it.
I'm the complete opposite. I was actually telling Nick on the way over here that I don't feel any butterflies, no nervousness, so it's coming to actually be at a Villanova game for the first time in 5 years and not worrying about whether your performance is good enough or not. So it feels good coming as a fan and cheering them on.
So you get a little nervous, you relax a little bit. I get it. Totally two different opinions, but thanks, guys, for catching up with us. Nick?
Great to see Jaron Hayek, the wide receiver, and Nick Torres, the offensive lineman, two of the veterans you had to replace as Villanova quickly moving it downfield, first and goal from the 6-yard line.
And Nick, both those guys in the offseason were with the Kansas City Chiefs in preseason camp. Nick did a really good job. Well, Jaron unfortunately got hurt in camp and signed an injury settlement. Nick Torres went right down.
Marvelous career.
And Nick Torres, one of your captains from last year on that offensive line.
And plugged a lot of those holes for the running game. In motion. Villanova's running game has worked effectively today as they're down to the 1.
And it's going to be Isaiah Ragland down to the 1-yard line. The Wildcats now be 3rd and 1. Call it 3rd and goal from the 1.
The Cats are 4 for 5 in the red zone today.
And it'll be Abbott in at running back as he'll replace Ragland. Bell in again, so maybe you think Brendan Bell getting another touchdown this week?
Why not, Steve?
I think they're going to give it to Abbott this week. They go with that double kind of fullback H-back formation. They bring Bell and Jason Hall in as kind of your H-back fullback types.
Timeout.
It's going to be taken by A&T.
First charge timeout of the half. A&T. Be 30 seconds.
Well, Steve, for all the defensive fans out there, Vincent Brown, he must love this in one part of his mind, that a linebacker's getting a carry. Even though he sees his team trailing, you know, there's a part of him smiling.
I don't think the defensive part likes him being 3rd and goal on his 1-yard line, though. I don't think he signed up for that part of it. But, yeah, I understand your point.
So we'll see if the linebacker gets the carry again. You know, hats off to A&T. I think they've played a terrific ball game, frankly.
Yeah, they fought hard. Villanova, obviously a score here really kind of puts this thing away. 31-3 with 12 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, talking with Vincent Brown, it's about putting two halves together, about not making mistakes. He knew that Villanova would be a challenge. Really tough games back-to-back weeks with William and Mary last weekend at home and on the road here in Philadelphia this weekend.
And I think the big thing here is Villanova's got a chance to put up 21 points in the second half if they can score here. And it's been a long time since they've had a 20-point half.
Brendan Bell will be in the backfield. The linebacker scored last weekend. They pitch it to Brendan Bell, and he is stopped short. He almost had it.
They went shuttle pass to Bell, and he's going to be short at the 1.
You think A&T was really ready for it this time?
I think they might have been ready for the handoff. I'm not sure they're ready for the shovel pass. I think Coach Ferrani will keep the offense out there. See there, this the old Andy Reid play, but a good job there. McCullers trying to get the block, but unable to get him through. And Bell's taken down at the 1. I think you might see something more conventional here. I think you might see Abbott get this one.
Chris McCullers tried to get out of the way, the lineman. They'll try it again. Why not? The linebacker standing to the left of Connor Watkins. They feed it to the running back, and they score it anyway.
There's the one I got right finally, Nick. They gave it to Avin. He gets it into the end zone for the touchdown.
So Villanova scores and extends their lead. First touchdown of the day for the rookie running back out of Maryland.
That's 3 really good drives in the Villanova offense this second half. That's something they got to build on because they're going to need to score next week. You can't count on your defense to keep teams, to 7 and 10 and 14 points every week. So you're going to need a week where you can put up, into the 30s. And today's one of those weeks, and hopefully they can build on this for the end of the last 2 regular season games.
David Abbott with his 7th rushing touchdown of the season. It's now 31-3 Villanova. A 10-play drive for Villanova. Here's another peek at it, Steve.
Yeah, good job. Actually, a good block by Bell at the point of attack. And then you see McCullers in the end zone. Who's that at the bottom of the pile? That's looks like 79. Cregan doing a good job as well. So good push from your offensive line. Then the leg drive from Abbott. And he shows off his dance moves in the end zone.
And Steve, with David Abbott, he's shown his speed. Another run today, we saw him show his patience, but he also was able to drive his legs forward very well that time.
Yeah, and he's got really power in his lower body, Nick. That's kind of what's been his calling card. When they had him here in camp in August, they realized that this guy's not your normal freshman. From the waist down, he's built real low to the ground and very strong. And when he gets hit, he's usually falling forward, getting yards after contact, and he's had a really good freshman year.
The Wildcats looking at another home win, which would make it 14 straight wins in a row here at Villanova Stadium. The last loss, Steve, was to
Monmouth, I believe.
Who they'll have next weekend on the road. A big challenge that'll be. A&T's had a good return game this year as they break it free towards the 30 and out of bounds at midfield.
Yeah, Ethan Getman with a tackle there. I think that was Cortez Lane on the return, 15. Yep, good run by him and a good job by Getman to get him out. So that's really been there. They've had 3 really good returns today that got themselves in decent field position.
A&T trying to get more and more young players involved.
Yeah, Turner Inge had a shot at him, unable to get him down. And Ethan Getman does a good job to knock him out of bounds.
And Cortez Lane, the rookie wide receiver out of South Carolina. That's what Vincent Brown's been doing over the last 2 weeks, getting a lot of his true freshmen playing time. And Steve, you said that. Why not get the kids
you're
playing
1-7.
time?
Get them some reps. Get them comfortable. It's just building for next year at this point right now.
This is Braxton Thomas, the freshman quarterback. We've seen both he and Justin Fomby today.
And Hartzell again. It was a great job. And I don't know what's going on. He got a little issue between. I think Hartzell's going to pick up a penalty here. That was not smart by Shane. You usually don't see him lose his cool like that.
Is it something he said, Steve?
Yeah, he got right on. It's going to be like a taunting penalty. He got right on top of him. Unless he's saying it's a face mask, but I think it's going to be taunting.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense, number 31, his first of the game. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. Automatic. First down.
So that's going to be on Shane Hart. So you'll see here, he's usually such under control and controls his emotions here. Look at the really nice job on the tackle, but you'll see him get up right here and get over the top of him and has something to say, and then the ball's thrown up in the air. So they're going to call Hartzell there for taunting.
A 15-yard foul will push the ball to the 36-yard line.
Looks like they'll move it back a yard for when we're going to move the sticks on the far side. Back to the 37. Now there's some confusion here between the officials.
Biggest lead of the day by Villanova. Steve Pannone, Nick Montaigne, Tessa Peloso's on the field. Our great crew's on hand here today on the Villanova Sports Network. Can Villanova win their 5th conference game? They're certainly on their way. The league will look a lot different next year as Delaware and Richmond will both be departing. So you figure that Villanova will be a favorite for years to come like usual. They're going up top here, man coverage, but it's incomplete as it was intended for Thomas Brown, the wide receiver.
Yeah, Zamir Daoud on the coverage with him step for step. Looked like he maybe had a half a step, but Daoud, good closing speed there, recovery speed was with him step for step.
He played at Butler for 3 years, Steve. So the Cats stop a former Dog there.
I didn't see nice Waxter out there. He's back on the field. I'm glad to see that. I didn't know if something had happened to him because that was Mims and Dawoud playing some corner, just rotating some guys in. So Waxter back in. After Dawoud had the 35-yard run down the field, they'll give him a play off.
The Wildcats graduated some defensive linemen, so starting roles this year for Capri Martin, Aiden Howard, and Abina Wobodu. It's a quarterback keep, and Brendan Bell knocks it away.
They're going to call a late hit here on Mike Kennedy. This is a tough call because he's right there. I think they're going to get him for like driving him into the ground. But really a tough call.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 55. 15-yard penalty.
Watch it here, Nick. At the end of the play, there's Kennedy, 55. The hit is fine, but what he does is he drives him into the ground with his force. And that's what they called.
Wasn't the timing.
No. Yeah, he was there in time. Wasn't late. It was an unfortunate play because Bell broke it up.
So a couple different 15-yard fouls.
Coach Ferrani not happy with it. That's how you teach people to tackle. Good form tackle. You hit him in the chest.
1st and 10 for the Aggies. Braxton Thomas, the rookie, underneath. There's Coles with the catch.
Knocked out by Waxter.
Daniel Coles, the freshman.
So 10-19 and counting here in the fourth quarter. Wildcats lead this one 31-3. Wildcat defense taking great pride. Love to keep him out of the end zone, not give up a touchdown today.
Both quarterbacks for A&T are combined 5 for 15 for 38 yards today. They tried to work on it as they were last in passing yards in the entire country last year. So they hired a new offensive coordinator. And it's better this year, Steve. 73rd is better than last.
And they're going against one of the best defenses in the CAA, probably one of the best defenses in the FCS, to be quite honest with you. So, I don't think they came in here expecting to put up big numbers against this Villanova defense. It's been shutting down pretty much everybody all year.
And Kevin White was supposed to be their quarterback, but he got hurt earlier in the season.
Yeah. So, when you're rotating guys in, sometimes that means you don't have one quarterback. When you're rotating 2 or 3, you don't really have a starter.
And Kevin White had offers from Duke and Virginia Tech, so they have something there. Speaking of Virginia Tech, they had Bashal Tootin, the excellent running back for the Hokies. So they've had good players before. It's 3rd down for A&T. There's room to run, but a flag is down.
Yeah, that's going to come back. It's going to be holding on the offensive line.
And a slide by Braxton Thomas.
Abina Wobodu was trying to get to the quarterback, and they just had a whole jersey full.
Number 57, 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So that's going to be Culberson, the offensive lineman from Texas. He just grabs right in the middle of the field. You see him right. He's got Abina right there in the middle of the screen. He's trying to get free. He just won't let go of him. He's got a whole handful of jersey. So an easy call and a good call by the officials.
Kellen Culberson's had to play in place of Cesar Monaro, their excellent all-conference center who's been out now each of the last 2 weeks. What do you got for 3rd and 16, Steve?
There's not a whole lot in the playbook for this, but it's 2-down territory. So you try to get 8 or 9 back and make it 4th down and manageable.
3 wide receivers for the rookie quarterback. Braxton Thomas rolls, and Shane Hartzell has him.
Yeah, you're not getting away from him. I've said it, I think it's the 3rd time I said it, that he takes such good angles, and then once he gets his arms on you, he's a tremendous tackler. That's the one thing about Shane Hartzell. He very seldom misses a tackle. If he gets his arms around you, you're going down.
Ranks 15th in the country in tackles. I think 20 in one game is pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's not too shabby.
Earned FCS National Defensive Player of the Week honors. You see 31 knows how to tackle.
Yeah, that's 4th and 19 now. And if he ever does get away, Brendan Bell's waiting for him, but not needed on that down. So 4th and 19, you just want to keep it in front of the sticks now.
You think they'll take a shot, Steve?
You're going to have to. It's 4th down.
Braxton Thomas underneath. And Villanova has the coverage.
That's a great job by Waxter there. Let him catch it in front of the sticks and then tackle. So a good job by the Villanova defense, knowing down and distance there.
So Ice Waxter makes the stop, and Villanova will take over. We'll step away. Another great defensive second half by Villanova, as they've not allowed any points here in the second half today. Big lead for Villanova, closing in on their 8th win of the season. Let's check in with Tessa.
With junior wide receiver Jalen Sanchez this week and asked him how crucial it is to win out on these last 3 games. And he said, you know, that's the mindset. We have to. It's all or nothing. Our postseason starts right now. We're 0-0, and we've reiterated this to the guys in our group, and we all know this, that these last 3 weeks, that's what's going to propel us into the offseason, into the postseason, sorry, guys.
Well, Jalen Sanchez did well against A&T last year, Steve. He had a 59-yard touchdown and a 58-yard touchdown.
I do remember that. I was down doing that game in Greensboro, and he hit those 2 big plays. And the Wildcats here, they're really not needing big plays up 31-3. What they'd love to do is just kind of ground and pound it here for 3-4 yards of carry, pick up some first downs, and keep that clock running.
What's really cool is both of these head coaches have national championship rings as assistants. In 2008, Vincent Brown was the linebackers coach at Richmond when the Spiders won it all. And a season later, of course, Villanova won the 2009 national title when Mark Ferrante was the top assistant for Randy Talley.
And bring up a third down here coming up. Wildcats will need about 7. Clock ticks under 7 minutes to go.
3rd and 7 for Villanova's offense. Connor Watkins has thrown for 167 yards today, and he's run the ball effectively.
Yeah, he's done most of his damage with his legs.
Watkins on 3rd down. It's incomplete. Intended for Devin Smith.
The Wildcats will have to punt. Good pattern, just couldn't connect there. They ran something out wide, had good protection, just missed the throw here to bring up 4th down. Just a little bit short of his target.
Connor Watkins came into today 8th on the all-time Villanova passing lists. He's passed Chris Whitney, who was the quarterback on the 2009 national title team for Villanova, as Laquan Vini will let it bounce.
And he also, Nick, today went over, he had his 400th completion in his Villanova career. So Connor Watkins has put up some really good numbers in his Villanova career, which he hopes to continue to extend past the next 2 games.
He came into today 8th in total offense. Next up on the list is Daniel Smith, the previous quarterback. Of course, played under David Marsh, the offensive coordinator for A&T, when Daniel Smith and Coach Marsh were together at Campbell. So another good second half defensively. We can't say enough about that, Steve. Over the 4th quarters, over the last 4, Villanova's allowed a total of 3 points.
Yeah, they're making some changes defensively here as well. They're going to see some, especially in the secondary. See Moody into the ball game. Javon Williams at one of the safety spots as well. So
Justin Fomby is now the quarterback again for A&T. He's going downfield, man coverage, as it was intended for Thomas Brown. They've tried some aerials towards the Butler transfer.
Yeah, it's the Redford freshman I just mentioned, Javon Williams. Good job getting over there in coverage from his safety position.
So would you stick with Braxton Thomas just to get him more experience?
Yeah, I'm playing the freshman every down the rest of the season.
Instead, they go back to Justin Fomby, the sixth-year quarterback.
I know it's a throwing situation, but to be quite honest, this game's out of reach at 31-3 with 6 minutes to go.
Fomby's 2 for 4 through the air for 19 yards.
I know coaches don't think that way, nor should they, but I'm going to get as many reps to my young freshmen as I can. I'm building for next year, and he's probably going to be my quarterback.
Fomby had a good game against Richmond. Nicely done by Villanova.
A nice hit there. Good job. I think that was 39. Luke Myers? No, I'm sorry. Who was that? 38. Take that back. Can't read the number. Newton Essium at the cornerback position. 39 is Luke Myers, a place kicker. We don't think he'd be doing that.
Freshman corner out of Frederick, Maryland, makes the stop. Jordan Nelson, number 11, one of the linebackers, has come on along with Turner Inge. Fomby has room to run. He throws it, and it's incomplete.
That's Turner Inge, you just mentioned, Nick, knocking that down. One of the reserve linebackers has seen a lot of action this year. He filled in for Richie Kimmel while he was out, and a good play there by Turner Inge.
Number 33 is out of Williamstown, New Jersey. Had an injury a couple years back. They tried the scramble drill.
No one back to receive this punt yet, because I think you're going to put Dev Smith back, because I think you're going to see Tanner Maddox come in and play quarterback.
It'll be 4th down. They'll have to punt it away. Not much offense today, just 153 yards of total offense. Devin Smith, the North Carolina Central transfer.
So after the bobble, he corrals it, and I think it's going to be Tanner Maddox in a quarterback. That's why he wasn't back to return that punt.
So Coach Ferrante will make the change. 3rd-year quarterback out of Reading, Pennsylvania. Tanner Maddox will come onto the field with the offense.
Looks like you're going to see Eli Smith at the running back position. Nate Hill going to get an opportunity at wideout as well. Let's see if we can get some changes up front as well. We'll get those guys noted. Demir Wesley looks like he's in 1 tackle, the freshman O-lineman.
Villanova picked to win the CAA. They won a share of it last year, got the automatic bid to the playoffs.
There's Eli Smith at his first carry. Good job, a good leg drive as well.
The junior out of Houston, Texas, gets the carry for Nova on 1st down.
Gilbert Deglau's in there as well. Ian Erickson, 65. I want to try to get everyone mentioned if I can. These guys work hard all week in practice. I want to get an opportunity to get them noticed. Dan McManus is in at 1 tackle as well, too. James Weldy in at tight end. He's played throughout the year. I think his first action today, though.
The Wildcats have now run for over 200 yards on the ground. That's the 5th time they've accomplished that this season. They did it 7 times last year. That's now 31 times out of the last 73 games that Villanova has 200 yards or more rushing in a single game.
A good run by Eli Smith again. He's going to go out of bounds up past the 40-yard line.
The Wildcats ran for 248 last year against the Aggies.
Clock continues to run here as we're about 4:15 to go.
Okay, 1st down.
Wildcats in no hurry here. It's
Gilbert DeGlaw, the Davidson transfer, played a lot.
He's in at center for Picard.
And Tanner Maddox and the rest of the backups. Maddox is 8 for 14 through the air with 112 yards passing this season. His 3rd year with the program. Now Villanova will move to 5-1 in the conference, Steve, and looking like another possible playoff berth. With 2 games left, they'll be at Monmouth next weekend, who has a prolific offense. And then, is it the last chapter of the Villanova-Delaware rivalry?
I would think so, because Delaware moving to FBS next year. I don't see how those two teams match up schedule-wise anymore. So it will be the last time, certainly the last time we see the Delaware Blue Hens in Villanova Stadium.
So that trophy will be on the line.
Yeah, I'm not sure the trophy's on the line because they're actually an FBS program this year. They're qualified as an FBS program, so I'm not sure that the Battle of the Blue Trophy is on the line this year. I'll have to check with Dean Kennefic about that, our sports information director.
So Tanner Maddox in the offense. That means Villanova holds on to it, right?
Yep. If they don't play for it this year, they would be since they've had it, I think, 14 out of the last 16 games. So
it'll still mean a lot in 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, it'll be a lot to play for, no doubt.
Both teams fighting for the playoffs. You figure Delaware will make it there. Richmond again. Villanova once again figuring to be in the mix for the playoffs. You like your odds right now for Nova.
Also, Irene Ngabaniza in at wide receiver. I've been wanting to say his name all year, so he's out there 17 out in the slot.
On third down for Villanova, approaching their 8th win of the season. Embarking on what could possibly be their 10th playoff trip over the last 17 years.
That should take us to the 2-minute timeout.
Usually a guarantee when a Mark Ferrante team and for Villanova when they score 30 points or more. Since 2015, this will make it a 45-5 record for Villanova when they score 30 points in a game, as they've hit 30 for the second time this year. As we hit the 2-minute timeout, Eli Smith getting a lot of the runs, as it'll be another win. And North Carolina A&T, Steve, it'll be their 8th straight loss. What do they need to do to get better?
Offensively, they're just not there. Certainly the passing game is not what you need it to be, and that's where their offseason, I think, point of emphasis will be in improving the passing game.
We'll step away. We'll be right back.
Can't hide what makes NJM Insurance so great. Although some may try. We're proud to put policyholders first. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM. What if all insurance companies were like NJM and didn't use mascots? And were known for putting their policyholders first. Then all those insurance mascots would have to get real jobs. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM.
Stay with us for the rest of the game, for our post-game reactions with Tessa on the field. Terrific crowd on hand here today. This will be another win at Villanova Stadium, which will make it 14 straight home wins for Villanova. Just one win last year for the Aggies. It'll move A&T to just 1-9 on the season. We'll go back to the drawing board as it's punted away. So at Monmouth next weekend, Steve, it'll be a challenge for Villanova.
It will be, because Monmouth is a very good offensive football team, and that's going to be a key. Can the Wildcat offense continue what it built on here in the second half and give themselves an opportunity? Because, you know, Villanova's defense is as good as any in the FCS, but, you know, Monmouth can score. So you got to figure, you know, hey, we're going to need 20-something points to win that game, and can we put together a good offensive performance?
That's Derek Robertson's the new quarterback, the transfer from Maine. Of course, it's the 10-year anniversary of Villanova's quarterback, John Robertson, when he won the Walter Payton Award a decade ago.
Yeah, Monmouth trails New Hampshire right now, 33-20 up in Durham, New Hampshire, with 2:48 to go in the fourth quarter. So it looks like they may be coming off a tough loss. The other score that interests everyone here at Villanova, Delaware leads 24-21 over Rhode Island. A good job by Turner Inge in the hole there. What a tackle.
Villanova develops their linebackers so well, Steve, every year, don't they?
They really do. And the system is set up where the defensive linemen will take on the double teams to let the linebackers run free and make plays. And they've done a great job of that. Rhode Island has the ball at their own 17-yard line with 59 seconds to go. They'll need a field goal to tie to try to remain undefeated in the CAA.
Justin Fomby comes back for another drive. Put up some good numbers this year. 240 against Hampton through the air with a touchdown. He threw for 3 scores against South Carolina State. We'll see if he gets playing time next weekend as he takes it himself.
I'll take us under the 1 minute mark here.
A&T will be at Towson next weekend, and they finish at home against Elon. But there's still a chance to try and win a conference game, Steve, for the Aggies.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. With 2 games left, they're going to continue to fight. But, you know, obviously at 1-8 after this one, you're really just trying to find out who your keepers. Who do you want next year, part of your program? Who's got a shot to develop? Who's going to fight when their backs are against the wall? That's what you're looking at right now at this point of the season if you're A&T.
Who make their first trip to Philly for the first time since 1985 to play a college football game. And they'll depart towards Greensboro with another loss. And Villanova will pick up their 5th home win of the season as they went 6-0 last year en route to the quarters.
Yeah, no need to snap the ball here as the game clock's down under the play clock. Looks like the Aggies aren't going to snap it, and that'll be the ball game.
So Villanova will win again. They were tied for 3rd place in the CAA standings at the start of today. Could put themselves 1 notch higher. That's a ball game as Villanova wins it by a final of 31-3 over A&T. As we'll step away, our post-game coverage is at the other end of the break as Villanova secures another victory as they win on Alumni Day. We'll be back in a moment here from the main line.
In moments of vulnerability, it's only human to seek warmth and expertise. Mainline Health is the place where both your health and humanity matter, where ultrasounds come with understanding, where tests are met with tenderness, where EKGs are as important as empathy, the place where you will never be your only advocate, the place for a lifetime of care delivered neighbor to neighbor. Mainline Health, where human care has a home.
Home is for making dreams come true, for making memories that will last, for forging lifelong friendships, for watching your loved ones grow. The time is now to find the freedom that comes with pre-qualifying for a new home, or refinance in minutes and unlock the freedom to do the exciting things you've always wanted to do. Whichever path you choose, you can achieve your goals and celebrate the freedom of home ownership with Freedom Mortgage. Start making your dreams a reality at freedommortgage.com/dreams.
Villanova gets another victory today as a conference win is always very special. As we welcome you back inside the booth with Steve Fanone, Nick Montagna. A really good second half by the Wildcats.
Yeah, it just really did. It came out, got a touchdown that opening drive, and that kind of just opened the floodgates for them offensively to the 31-3 win.
Tessa Peloso is down on the field with Connor Watkins.
Thanks, Nick. Connor, first half, offense struggled a little bit. In the second half, put up 21 points. What were the conversations like at half to change the momentum?
I mean, really, the conversation is we had just as many opportunities to score in the first half. We drove down the field almost every possession. The only times we got stopped were when we stopped ourselves. That's something we need to clean up. That's kind of been a common theme for our offense this year. It's something that we're stressing. We're working on. I think we're improving. But I'm super proud of the way we came out in the second half. Like I said, we talked about it at halftime. We came out and we did what we felt like we should have done in the second half. Came out big, huge opening drive there. Took some time off the clock and punched it in for the touchdown. So that was huge, too, for the momentum.
2 rushing touchdowns for you today. Touchdown for Jalen Sanchez, David Abbott. What has the offense learned about themselves at this point in the season?
It's going to be a committee. I mean, we got to have guys make plays all over the field. It's going to be, we got to win in the trenches consistently, and then when we have plays to make, we got to make the plays.
Thanks, Connor. Congratulations.
Connor Watkins with a touchdown to Jalen Sanchez, as he's our player of the game. He made good decisions left and right today, Steve.
Yeah, and in the second half, you're going to see him make some plays with his legs, too. There's a beautiful throw down the field to Dev Smith. Back shoulder throw, and he had a nice job. This is a design quarterback run. Love the play call here. And Watkins says lower the shoulder and finishes off the run.
Tessa Peloso's down on the field with head coach Mark Ferrante.
Coach, at half, you said your team needed to eliminate the negative yardage plays, get something going in the second half. How pleased are you with the way they came out in that second half?
Yeah, we did a much better job with that. We had, the opening return, and then we took the first drive down the field. So that gave us a little momentum back. And then we did eliminate some of the, we didn't have the sacks that we had in the first half. We did have a couple penalties still, but we had less. And defense still playing really well and kept them out of the end zone. So, we got 21 points in the second half as opposed to 10 in the first half. So, obviously, we eliminated some of those mistakes that shot ourselves in the foot, and we're able to convert into touchdowns.
You mentioned those penalties. Your team had a handful of them today, although they came out on top. How do you eliminate that moving forward?
Yeah, I don't really talk about it too much because I don't want to put the penalties in their mind, but we just got to continue to be more disciplined. And today it was, at least we didn't have the unforced errors. It's what it's been prior to today was the false starts on offense, offsides on defense, although we did have one or two of them. But, they were the physical penalties, and, as long as we're playing physical, hopefully we can, not have the roughing the passer and those type of things. But as long as we're playing hard before the whistle blows, then it's just something we got to continue to enforce and work on and hopefully eliminate them. But, sometimes that's just going to happen.
And your team came out on top, another win. How proud are you of this group?
Yeah, I'm really proud of this group. Offensively, we got a lot of youth out there, so each week they're getting a little better. And defensively, they're playing lights out, and that's where our maturity and our experience is. And special teams are doing a good job as well. So if you win 2 out of 3, and I think we won all 3 phases today, but the goal is to try to win 2 out of 3, and the most important things are points for, points against, and we came out on top on that today.
Thank you, Coach. Congratulations.
Thanks, Tessa.
Another solid win for Villanova. That's 5 games in a row with only 3 points total allowed in the fourth quarter in that entire span. As we'll look at more of the highlights, Steve, the defense continues to get it done.
Yeah, the defense has been outstanding all year long. Coach Ferrante talked about the experience on that defense and all the guys they brought back. And as we saw the first touchdown here to Sanchez, good job, good extra effort. That's what you see. Connor Watkins, you got to make plays everywhere. Sanchez makes a play there. We saw Devin Smith make some plays. We saw Jabril Mace make some plays. This was the big play, the 4th down play to Abbott that kept the drive alive. That was a huge play. Going back, that was the first drive of the second half. If they don't convert there, they turn the ball over. That's the quarterback draw. A good job by Watkins, willing to lower the shoulder and get in the end zone.
The Wildcats hit both of their 4th down tries today, and they were better on 3rd down than A&T, which moved the sticks.
There's the big one by Ragland. I think it was 55 yards in total, and that was a big play in the game as well, too, and that kind of broke it open a little bit.
The Wildcats ran for 223 yards today. Watkins with a couple of touchdowns on the ground, as we mentioned, as he had a terrific day, and the defense did its job.
Yeah, the defense has been outstanding, and they tackled well, really just giving up the field goal to keep this team out of the end zone. That's the goal of every week. Hey, we'll bend a little bit. We're not going to break, but they do a great job of keeping A&T out of the end zone the whole game.
The Aggie quarterbacks completed just 7 for 19 through the air, as on Alumni Day, we see some of our top Wildcats of the day.
Yeah, you see Watkins with the 2 touchdowns rushing on the 7 runs for 31 yards. Smith had 7 catches for 68, along at 34. That's a number there. Shane Hartzell all over the field again today. We talked about him. 8 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss.
What a win for Villanova. They keep the train rolling, Steve, as 2 more games left as we look at the final stats for today. They outgained the Aggies. They outrushed them. A&T put up a fight in the first half, but Villanova closed it out in the second half.
Yeah, they really did. 390 yards total offense. But look at the balance. 223 on the ground, 167 through the air. So that's the balance that Mark Ferrante wants to see every week. 22 first downs, so you're possessing the football as well. And the one thing he talked about with Tessa postgame, the penalties, they'd love to clean that up. 7 for 80 yards. You'd love to make that 3 or 4 for, say, 30 or 40 yards. That's probably the one thing he'll focus in with his group this week as they get ready for a really good offensive football team in Monmouth next Saturday.
The Wildcats shut out the Aggies 21-0 in the second half, as they have another terrific second half. They really know how to close games and keep on set.
Yeah, and you credit the coaching staff as well. Chris Bowden, I thought, came out with a really good game plan in the second half. Ross Pennypacker's defense only gets better as the games go on. It seems you mentioned the points they haven't given up in the fourth quarter all year long. That talks about a perseverance, a toughness, attention to detail, physical conditioning late in the game. And his defense has been great all year, and hopefully the offense, as Coach Friday said, is picking it up. It's kind of hitting his stride here late in the year as we head into some big games down the stretch.
As the Wildcats make another push for the playoffs and another conference crown, as that'll wrap it up for today. Thanks again for joining us here as we say so long on the Villanova Sports Network. For our great crew and Tessa Peloso, that's Steve Pannone. I'm Nick Montaigne. Thanks for watching us as we say so long for Villanova Stadium as Villanova wins again. See you next time, everyone.